हेलो। हेलो। जी सर। हाँ जी सर। अब बताना। ठीक है सर, हो गया, एक बार आप भी चेक कर।
Our GPS is arriving in another 10 minutes. Our guest is about to arrive. I request everyone to please switch off your mobile phone or put your mobile phone on silent mode and please rise when we receive them. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am. Please be seated. Our chief guest has arrived at the campus. I request everyone to please rise when we receive them at the auditorium. I again request to put your mobile phone on silent mode. Our chief guest is about to arrive. I again request to please write when we receive them at the auditorium. Please rise. Good morning, sir. We welcome you to the stage. May I respectfully request our esteemed guest, Dr. Nishit Naran, and our guest, Dr. Sapna Katia, to kindly join our honorable chief guest at the stage. Please be seated. वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्व कार्येषु सर्वदा. With the blessing of Lord Ganesha, the remover of obstacles and the harbinger of wisdom, I, Neetu Mahajan, on behalf of organizing committee, extend a very warm welcome to everyone present here. It is indeed a moment of great pride and honor to welcome you all to the AICTE sponsored National Conference on Emerging Technology in Computer Application, a platform where idea meet innovation and knowledge shapes the future. I request everyone to please rise for the national song. वन्दे मातरम् सुजला सुफला मलयज शीतला सस्य श्यामला मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी पुल्लकुसुमित द्रुमदलशोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम्. Thank you. Please be seated. It's my proud privilege to extend a heartfelt welcome to our honorable chief guest, Professor Dr. J.P. Pandey, sir, Vice Chancellor of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University. Sir, we are honored by your gracious presence at this national conference. It is my honor to welcome our Honorable Chairman, Sir, Shri Ashu Goyal ji. We are delighted to welcome Dr. Nishit Naran, Group Head CSIS Work Integrated Learning Programs at BITS Pilani. Sir, it is an honor to have you with us today. Now I warmly welcome our esteemed guest, Dr. Sapna Katia, Advisor at the Cloudship at Impulse Technology. We are honored to have you with us, ma'am. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to our respected director, Professor Dr. Upasna Pandey ma'am, and to our respected registrar and director admin, Professor Dr. Vaibhav Jain sir. I also take this moment to warmly welcome all the respected deans, respected principal of pharmacy, esteemed head of departments, and valued faculty members. And of course, a very warm welcome to all research scholars, students, and participants who have joined us today. Welcome you all to this national conference. To formally inaugurate this national conference and symbolize the dispelling of darkness by knowledge, we now proceed with the lamp lighting ceremony, जो ज्ञान प्रेरणा और शुभ आरंभ का प्रतीक है. I respectfully request our honorable chief guest, and all the dignitaries to kindly proceed for the lighting of the ceremonial lamp. Thank you all. Before we move forward, allow me to present a brief introduction to the ABSIT group of institutions approved by AICTE and affiliated with AKTU Lucknow. ABSIT has, over the past 19 years, emerged as a beacon of excellence in engineering education, with a clear mission to transform budding engineers into academically proficient, intellectually empowered, and ethically grounded professionals. The institute remains firmly committed to the holistic development of its students. ABSIT has recently established a first of its kind AI based Center of Excellence in collaboration with NVIDIA, the only such center in a private institute under AKTU and within the NCR region, providing both students and faculty with industry grade exposure in a competitive, future driven environment. The campus itself thoughtfully designed to nurture both academic excellence and personal growth. It features air-conditioned classrooms, state-of-art libraries, and well-stocked libraries and laboratories, offering an ideal setting for focused learning and innovation. Facilities such as sprawling 2,000-seater amphitheater, technology-enabled auditorium, separate hostel for boys and girls, and round-the-clock security ensure safety, comfort, and meaningful engagement beyond the classroom. With well-maintained sports ground, modern recreational spaces, and faculty from some of the nation's premium institutions, ABSIT provides a vibrant, inclusive, and student-centric atmosphere that truly fosters the all-round development of every learner. Now, it's my privilege to introduce our honorable chief guest, the Vice Chancellor of APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow, Professor Dr. J.P. Pandey, sir, a distinguished academician and visionary leader in a higher technical education. Professor Pandey brings with him rich academic and administrative experience. Prior to his appointment at AKTU, he served as the Vice Chancellor of Madan Mohan Malviya University of Technology, where his exemplary leadership enabled the university to achieve NAC Grade A accreditation, a first for a technical university in Uttar Pradesh. He completed his BTech in electrical engineering from Dr. Ram Manohar Lohiya, Awadh University, and earned his PhD from AKTU. His strong academic foundation has significantly contributed to the growth of technical education in the state. As Vice Chancellor, Professor Pandey is committed to academic excellence and student welfare with a strong focus on timely academic processes and institutional transparency. He envisioned AKTU as a leader in the digital era, promoting education and research in an area such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and drone technology. Earlier, as a controller of examination at AKTU, he introduced digital evaluation and online examination systems, strengthening efficiency and transparency. With his progressive vision and leadership, Professor Pandey, continue to guide AKTU toward excellence in education, research, and innovation. We are honored to have you with us today, sir. May I now request our respected Director Ma'am, Professor Dr. Rupasna Pandey, to kindly proceed with the felicitation of our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. J.B. Pandey, sir, to present the sapling shawl and memento as a token of our respect and honor. Please be seated. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It is my proud privilege to extend a respectful welcome to our Honorable Chairman, Shri Ashu Goyalji, whose visionary leadership continues to guide and inspire the growth of our institution. Sir, your unwavering commitment to academic excellence, innovation, and value-based education has been the driving force behind the ABSIT progress and national standing. May I now request Professor Dr. Amit Watts, Dean Student Welfare at ABSIT, to kindly illustrate our Honorable Chairman, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It is my proud privilege to introduce and warmly acknowledge our Honorable Director, Ma'am, Professor Dr. Rupasna Pandey, a distinguished academician, accomplished researcher, and an inspiring leader in higher technical education. Ma'am brings with her over 19 years of teaching experience and 11 years of research experience. She completed her PhD from NSIT New Delhi. Her research interests include data mining, image processing, informal retrieval, and text mining. Professor Pandey has published several research papers and book chapters in reputed journals, conferences, supervised numerous student projects, and hold 3 patents. Currently serving as the Director ABSIT and having earlier served as a Dean Academics and HOD CSCAI, Ma'am continued to strengthen the academic and research ecosystem through her progressive vision and dynamic leadership. Ma'am, this national conference is being organized under your visionary leadership and continuous guidance, for which we express our sincere gratitude. May I now request Professor Dr. S.P. Gupta, Dean Academics at ABSIT, to kindly felicitate our Honorable Director, Ma'am, Professor Dr. Rupasna Pandey, by presenting a shawl, memento, and sapling as a token of our respect and appreciation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It is my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Nishit Naran, Group Head of CSIS Work Integrated Learning Program at BITS Pilani, whose vision focuses on fostering innovation, strengthening skills, and addressing real-world challenges through industry-academia collaboration. It is truly privileged to have you among us today, sir. And now, I request Professor Dr. Bashar Singh, Program Chair of Conference, to to kindly felicitate Dr. Nishit Narang by presenting a sapling shawl and memento as a token of our respect and admiration. Thank you, sir. It is my privilege to welcome Dr. Sapna Katia, advisor at Cloudship and Impulse Technologies, renowned speaker, author, and educator. With over 2 decades of academic and industry experience, including leadership roles at ABSIT, she has significantly contributed to academia research and innovation. Now I request Professor Dr. Kanika Taneja, HOD BTech DS, to kindly felicitate Dr. Sapna Katia by presenting a sapling shawl and memento as a token of our respect. Thank you, ma'am. May I now invite our Honorable Director, ma'am, Professor Dr. Upasana Pandey, to kindly address the esteemed audience and share her guiding thoughts. Please, ma'am.
माननीय मुख्य अतिथि श्री जयप्रकाश पांडे जी, वीसी डॉक्टर एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम टेक्निकल यूनिवर्सिटी, प्रबंधन समिति से चेयरमैन सर श्री आशु गोयल जी, हमारे आज के दिन के प्रवक्ता निश्चित जी और सपना मैम, सारे डीन्स, हेड ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट्स, कॉलेज ऑफ प्रिंसिपल कॉलेज ऑफ फार्मेसी, और अभी किसी बहुत ही बिजी असाइनमेंट की वजह से डायरेक्टर एडमिन एंड रजिस्ट्रार यहाँ पर नहीं है इनॉग्रल में, लेकिन उनका जिस तरह से कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा है उनका नाम भी लेना मेरे लिए बहुत उचित है। प्रोफेसर वैभव जैन, रजिस्ट्रार एंड डायरेक्टर एडमिन, और जिनके बगैर ये संभव नहीं था वो हमारे प्रतिभागी। आप सबका एबीएसआईटी फैमिली की तरफ से हार्दिक अभिनंदन। सर्वप्रथम आज के अतिथिगण का सहृदय धन्यवाद कि आपने हमारा ये आमंत्रण स्वीकार किया, और हमारे मुख्य अतिथि जो प्रोफेसर पांडे सर, इतने बिजी शेड्यूल में होते हुए भी आपने हमारे लिए थोड़ा सा समय निकाला, और ये बहुत आवश्यक था क्योंकि ये हमारी फर्स्ट नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस है। तो एक शुरुआत में इस तरह से माननीय अतिथिगण हमारे साथ हैं जिनकी ब्लेसिंग्स हमारे साथ है, और निश्चित रूप से ये हमारी बेहतर शुरुआत होगी। सर्वप्रथम मैं आप सबको इस संस्था से परिचित कराना चाहूंगी एज अ डायरेक्टर। वर्ष 2007 में वेद फाउंडेशन के अंतर्गत एबीएस इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी की स्थापना की गई। इस इकाई के हम 3 परिवार हैं, कॉलेज ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग, कॉलेज ऑफ फार्मेसी एवं स्टेप अप स्कूल। हमारे संस्थान का जो विजन है उसमें एक अग्रणी संस्थान बनने का हमने संकल्प लिया, जो तकनीकी शिक्षा और प्रशिक्षण कार्यक्रम से निहित मानवीय संसाधनों को त्याग कर राष्ट्र सेवा में अंतरराष्ट्रीय मानकों को पूरा करते हुए हम इसमें संलग्न हैं। इस संकल्प को पूरा करने के लिए वी हैव डिफरेंट सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंसेस, जिसके वर्तमान में हमारा जो एमओयू साइन है वो है एनवीडिया के साथ। इस जो एमओयू है इसके तहत हम हर वर्ष 120 स्टूडेंट्स को ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, और जिससे वो एआई में अपना भविष्य निर्धारित कर पाते हैं। इसी तरह से डिफरेंट सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंसेस हैं जिनके साथ हमारे एमओयू साइन है। इसके अलावा अगर हमारी गुणवत्ता की परख करी जाए कि हमारा शैक्षिक कैसे चलता है परिपाटी, तो हम नैक एक्रीडेटेड हैं उस केस में, और हमारे पास बच्चों में पूरा सर्वग्रीण विकास करने के लिए जो हमें दो सेल हमारे पास है, एक है उन्नत भारत अभियान और दूसरा है हमारा वैल्यू एजुकेशन सेल, जिसमें हम सिर्फ तकनीकी शिक्षा ही नहीं, दूसरे भी जो एक संस्कार और एक अच्छे नागरिक बनने के लिए बच्चों में जिन चीजों की जरूरत है उसके लिए भी हम इस पे कार्यरत रहते हैं। आजकल की तकनीकी सुविधाओं को ध्यान में रखते हुए हमने मॉडर्न इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एस्टैब्लिश किया हुआ है, और ये यहाँ पर जो कुछ प्रतिभागी ऐसे हैं जो इस चीज के साक्षी भी होंगे। संस्थान में 3 लाख लीटर क्षमता का रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, इसके साथ 650 वॉट सोलर एनर्जी की भी व्यवस्था है। समय समय पर हम कल्चरल और टेक्निकल प्रोग्राम्स का आयोजन करते हैं ताकि बच्चों का पूरा ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट कर सकें, जिसमें 2017 में हमने हेक्नोवेट की एक सीरीज शुरू करी, और आज हम धीरे धीरे उस जगह पर आ गए हैं जहां पर इंटरनेशनल टीम्स भी हमारे साथ उसमें रजिस्टर होती हैं। इसके फलस्वरूप ये हमने इस तरह का माहौल बनाया है जिसे प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग कहेंगे, और SIH में 2017 से निरंतर हमारे बच्चे प्रतिभागी होते हैं और हर साल हम विनर भी रहते हैं। तो कहीं ना कहीं सिर्फ जो हमारा एक सिलेबस और करिकुलम के माध्यम से ही बच्चों को हम नहीं सोसाइटी के काबिल बना सकेंगे, इसलिए हम इन चीजों को भी हमेशा अपने कार्यक्रमों में शामिल रखते हैं। बस इतना ही परिचय देते हुए फिर से एक बार आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप सबने आज हमारा आमंत्रण स्वीकार किया और इस इनॉग्रल सेशन के आप प्रतिभागी बने। आप सबका भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जिन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट करा। और इसमें थोड़ा सा बस एड ऑन में ये करना चाहूंगी कि जिस तरह से नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस की पहल थी, हमारे मन में भी थोड़ी दुविधाएं थी, लेकिन हमने करीबन 150 पेपर रिसीव किए हैं, और जिनमें से हम आज और कल में 62 पेपर्स इसमें प्रेजेंट किए जाएंगे। तो ये एक छोटी सी लेकिन बेहतर शुरुआत है हम सबके लिए। तो धन्यवाद, थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now it is my privilege to invite our Honorable Chief Guest, Vice Chancellor of ETCA-2026, Professor Dr. J.P. Pandey, sir, to kindly grace the podium and offer his visionary guidance. Please, sir.
ABS इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी गाजियाबाद द्वारा आयोजित इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजी इन कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशन 2026 के इस पहले सेमिनार में संस्था के चेयरमैन आशु गोयल जी, संस्था की निदेशक, हमारे जो की नोट स्पीकर हैं, जितने भी फैकल्टी मेंबर्स हैं, विभागाध्यक्ष, जो स्कूल ऑफ फार्मेसी के डायरेक्टर, और हमारे जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, और सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन। सबसे पहले मैं डायरेक्टर को और उनकी पूरी टीम को, जिन्होंने इस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस आयोजित किया है, उसके लिए बधाई देना चाहता हूँ। ये पहला कॉन्फ्रेंस है, इसके लिए और बधाई, क्योंकि आने वाले समय में जो टेक्नोलॉजी का हम उपयोग देख रहे हैं और टेक्नोलॉजी का विकास देख रहे हैं, तो इसमें संस्था ने ये प्रयास शुरू कर दिया। इसके लिए ढेर सारी बधाई मैडम, आपको और पूरी टीम को, जितने भी फैकल्टी। मैंने जब मेरे को बताया गया कि ये नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस है और इसमें आना है, तो व्यस्तता के कारण एक दिन मैंने टेलीफोन किया मैडम को, तो मैडम ने उठाया नहीं। मैंने पूछा टॉपिक क्या है, एक्चुअल में लेटर आता है तो उसको तो देख लेते, ठीक है जाना है फिर देखा जाएगा। तो जब आपसे नहीं बात हुई तो मैंने आशु जी को टेलीफोन लगाया, फिर आशु जी ने कहा हमको भी नहीं पता है, मैं पूछ के बताता हूँ। तो फिर मैंने मलिक को, जो हमारे, बताया कि क्या टॉपिक है, थोड़ा तैयार करके चलना चाहिए, आपके साथ हमको संवाद करना है। तो हमारे मलिक ने बताया, मलिक इज, समझ लो, एजेंट है, AI एजेंट, मैनुअल एजेंट है अभी बात कर। तो इमीडिएटली थोड़ी देर के बाद उन्होंने भेजा व्हाट्सएप पे, तो देखा मैंने टॉपिक आपका जो है इमर्जिंग ट्रेंड्स इन कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशन। तो ये टॉपिक बहुत बड़ा है, वास्ट टॉपिक है, और इस टॉपिक को चुनने के लिए भी मैंने आपको बधाई दी है पहले कि आपने इतना बढ़िया टॉपिक चुना है। और सभी लोग चाहते हैं कि भारत विकसित भारत बने 2047 में, और सभी का प्रयास होना चाहिए, और हर आपके हर संस्थान का, हर छात्र का, हर फैकल्टी मेंबर का प्रयास होना चाहिए, और जो छोटे छोटे प्रयास होंगे इसी से देश को विकसित बनने में मदद मिलेगी। और जब तक आप मजबूत नहीं होंगे इंटरनली, तब तक आपको कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है। ऐसे ही देखो ना, जो आपके, अगर आप जिस कॉलोनी में रहते हो जो बहुत मजबूत होता है, मजबूती के कई आकार हैं, तो उसके जो मजबूत होता है उसको सभी सुनते हैं। तो ऐसे ही है, अभी देखिए आपको कल शाम रात में हम लोगों ने देखा कि जिस देश ने हमारे ऊपर टैरिफ इम्पोज किया था वो बैक ट्रैक कर रहा। क्यों कर रहा? क्योंकि आपकी स्ट्रेंथ इतनी बड़ी है कि किसी कोई आज की डेट में इग्नोर नहीं कर सकता। तो ये जिम्मेदारी हमारे सभी छात्रों को है, हमारे जितने भी रिसर्च स्कॉलर हैं, फैकल्टी मेंबर्स का है, उन सभी का है कि हम इस दिशा में जो अपेक्षाएं हैं, देश की अपेक्षाएं हैं, विश्व की भी अपेक्षाएं हैं, और हम पूरे विश्व को एक परिवार मानते हैं, तो इसलिए हमारी जिम्मेदारी भी बहुत ज्यादा है। तो इस जिम्मेदारी को निर्वहन करने के लिए आपने इस टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में सेमिनार आरंभ किया। निश्चित तौर पर जो 2 दिन का आपका विचार विमर्श होगा इन टेक्नोलॉजी के विभिन्न आयामों पे, मतलब कोई ऐसी चीज इस टेक्नोलॉजी, जो आपका सेमिनार का टॉपिक है, कोई ऐसी चीज बची नहीं है जो आज की डेट में जो आप सोच रहे हैं और जो चीजें होनी है और वो चर्चा न हो। तो ये अच्छी बात है, एक ब्रॉड टॉपिक, और पहला टॉपिक आपका ब्रॉडर है, और धीरे धीरे मैडम आप नैरो करते जाना, स्पेसिफिक टेक्नोलॉजी पर आप सेमिनार कराएंगे तो और बढ़िया बेहतर रिजल्ट आएगा आपके पास। अब इन टेक्नोलॉजी में आपका सबसे जो इस समय बूम सेक्टर है, और आपके पास एक सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस है एनवीडिया का, वो एआई का एक जीपीयू लगाया हुआ। कितने सर्वर है? एक सर्वर है। कितना पेटाफ्लॉप है? चलिए, ऐसा है कि मान लो 2 पेटाफ्लॉप का आपका जीपीयू है, तो पेटाफ्लॉप का कंप्यूटेशनल पावर मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कितना बड़ा हो गया है। 2 पेटाफ्लॉप अगर मान लो है, या 1 पेटाफ्लॉप है, 2 पेटाफ्लॉप माने क्योंकि 2 से कम नहीं होगा, तो 2 × 10⁻15 फ्लोटिंग पॉइंट ऑपरेशन पर सेकेंड। आपकी जितनी आंख झपकेगी नहीं, उससे ज्यादा जल्दी वो कंप्यूट करके आपके लिए सोल्यूशन उपलब्ध करा देगा। आज की डेट में ह्यूमन के पास कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है, और जिस टेक्नोलॉजी की आज हम पूरे विश्व में चर्चा हो रही है, एनवीडिया के हम सर्वर ले रहे हैं, और इस एआई, और हमारा जो एआई बेसिकली मैथमेटिक्स है, एआई मैथमेटिक्स है, और मैथमेटिक्स का सबसे पहले आगाज हम लोगों क्या हुआ है, बाइनरी नंबर हमने डिसाइड किया। उस समय वो था लघु और गुरु, हमारे एक वो थे संत जिन्होंने बताया लघु और गुरु, उसी को 0-1 के रूप में चलता गया। बट क्या हुआ कि हमने जो हमारी विरासत थी, हमने उसको कभी भी इस लाइन में सोचा नहीं, और धीरे धीरे दूसरे जो वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज के लोग हैं उन्होंने इसको सुपरसीड कर लिया। तो एआई पे चर्चा करना चाहता हूं मैं। कितना बड़ा मार्केट है उसका एक अंदाजा लगाओ आप। जो एनवीडिया है वो इस समय 80% जो जीपीयू है वर्ल्ड का, वो उनके अकाउंट में है कि वो लोग सप्लाई करते हैं। उस टोटल कंपनी की नेट वर्थ है $4.13 ट्रिलियन एनवीडिया की, और काम कितने लोग करते हैं उसमें? 2 लाख लोग। और हमारे देश की जीडीपी कितनी है? $4.15 ट्रिलियन, और हमारे पास 140 करोड़ लोग हैं। तो ये वॉल्यूम है। और आपका एनवीडिया ने क्या किया था, आप लोग जो पुराने लोग हैं, एनवीडिया, हम लोग कंप्यूटर खरीदने जाते थे डेस्कटॉप, तो हम कहते थे इसके अंदर ग्राफिक्स कार्ड लगाना जरूरी है। आप लोग को याद होगा ग्राफिक्स कार्ड, ये कंपनी ग्राफिक्स कार्ड बनाती थी, और हम ग्राफिक्स कार्ड कंप्यूटर में किस लिए यूज करते थे? अच्छी पिक्चर दिखे, गाने अच्छे दिखें। ये इसके अलावा हमारे पास कुछ नहीं था। हम कंप्यूटर को एक स्टेटस सिंबल मानते थे कि हमको 8 MB का ग्राफिक्स कार्ड लगा हुआ है। और वो कंपनी जिसने ग्राफिक्स कार्ड बनाते बनाते उसने इमेज प्रोसेसिंग को एआई बना दिया, और आज वर्ल्ड को लीड कर दिया। दिस इज इनोवेशन। उसने अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी को इनोवेट किया। किसी ने सोचा नहीं था कि ग्राफिक्स बनाने वाली कंपनी आपकी एक एआई की बड़ी कंपनी बन जाएगी, और आज की डेट में ग्राफिक्स कार्ड और इमेज प्रोसेसिंग एआई हो गया। तो ये मेरा जो हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट हैं उनसे कहना है, जो फैकल्टी मेंबर्स उनसे करना है कि जो भी चीज आप रिसर्च कराते हैं, जो भी आप करते हैं, वो इनोवेशन जरूरी है, रीस्किलिंग आपकी जरूरी है, स्किल आपको इंट्रोड्यूस करना पड़ेगा। और अब एआई है, एआई के बारे में बहुत सारे थ्रेट्स भी हैं। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने जो डिजिटल इंडिया एक्ट उन्होंने DIA डिजिटल इंडिया एक्ट 2025 में उन्होंने पास किया पार्लियामेंट में, उस एक्ट में पहली बार हमने ये एज्यूम किया कि एआई इज अ थ्रेट। एआई के नुकसान क्या है? फायदा तो हम लोग चर्चा कर रहे हैं, बहुत सारे लोग, सब लोग फायदे की चर्चा कर रहे हैं, नुकसान क्या है? और इसका जो सिक्योरिटी पार्ट है, बाद में उसको एक और एक्ट लेके आया, DPDP, डिजिटल पर्सनल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन। तो ये आपका पर्सनल डेटा से, बट जो डिजिटल इंडिया एक्ट है उसके अंदर एआई के प्रॉस एंड कॉन्स दोनों दिए हुए हैं। तो जितने भी हमारे जो रिसर्चर हैं, उनको जब भी कभी कोई मॉडल बनाना है एआई का, कोई भी एआई पे काम करना है, तो उसको भी थोड़ा सा देखना है। बहुत सारा एक्ट पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं, बट वो आपका जो रिलेवेंट वो पोर्शन है वो आपको पढ़ना जरूरी है। अब मैं आपको यूजेस बताता हूँ कि हमको कैसे थ्रेट है इस टेक्नोलॉजी को। अभी एक हफ्ते पहले हम लोग भी टेक्नोलॉजी पे काम करते हैं, और हमने शुरू से कोशिश करी है। 2006 में जब हमने PhD कंप्लीट करी थी, एंड आई हैव सेलेक्टेड द टॉपिक इन ईयर 2001, आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क एप्लीकेशन इन पावर सिस्टम। तो मुझे नहीं मालूम था कि ये आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क आज की डेट में इतना बड़ा AI हो जाता। तो हम तो PhD करने के बाद किसी इंडस्ट्री में चले जाते, मेरे को आइडिया नहीं था। हमने सोचा न्यूरल नेटवर्क है, ये एप्लीकेशन हम पावर सिस्टम के लिए यूज कर रहे थे। बट AI हमारे डे टू डे लाइफ में जब आया, तभी इसकी इंपॉर्टेंस लोगों को, हर आदमी को पसंद करने लगी। और हम कितना पीछे हैं, मैं आपको उसका नमूना बताता हूँ। AI किस स्टेज में है, यू नो? AI आज की डेट में 3rd स्टेज को क्रॉस कर रहा है, और हम पहली स्टेज के लिए भी प्रिपेयर नहीं है। कैसे? पहली स्टेज कब थी? पहली स्टेज आप लोगों ने यूज करी, आपको पता ही नहीं लगा। आप लोग फेसबुक पर, आपके व्हाट्सएप पर, ट्विटर पर आप अपना डालते थे कि ये बताओ वो बताओ, तो वो क्या करता है, क्यूरेट करता है इंफॉर्मेशन जो पब्लिक डोमेन में अवेलेबल है, उसको क्यूरेट करके आपको दिखाता है आपके लाइकिंग के हिसाब से। तो वो फेस सभी लोगों ने यूज किया, सभी फेसबुक पे आते हैं और वीडियो देखते हैं अपने चॉइस के। तो आप देखते चले गए, इवन जो गांव का जो लोग हैं जिनको बहुत ज्यादा मतलब नहीं टेक्नोलॉजी के, उन्होंने भी AI को पहले स्टेज को यूज कर लिया, न्यूज़पेपर वाले कंटेंट यूज कर लिए। दूसरा स्टेज आया हमारा जनरेटिव AI का। सबसे पहले AI क्यूरेट किया, उसके बाद जनरेटिव AI में हमने AI को ट्रेन किया, और अभी जो तीसरी स्टेज हमारे पास जो पास होने वाली है वो एजेंटिक AI की, एजेंट्स। मैंने अमित मलिक का क्यों नाम लिया? मैं उससे कहता हूं कि मलिक जी जरा आप हमको ये बता दो, वो बता दो, वो अभी जैसे मान लो एजेंट हम अमित मलिक का बनाते हैं, तो हमें मशीन से पूछना पड़ेगा केवल कि आप बता दीजिए, रात में कभी भी बता दीजिए। तो जो एजेंट है, एजेंट के साथ सबसे एडवांटेज क्या है, वो कभी छुट्टी नहीं मांगेगा, कभी CL की एप्लीकेशन नहीं देगा, कभी सैलरी हाइक नहीं मांगेगा। तो जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की समस्या है वो दूर करने वाला है। लेकिन इसके साथ हमको भी तैयार रहना पड़ेगा, ये जो हमारी जो टेक्नोलॉजी है हम उसको कितना लेके चल रहे हैं। आपके पास सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस है मैडम, आप बच्चों को एक मॉडल बनवाइएगा, AI मॉडल। दूसरा, इस समय स्कोप बहुत ओपन है। आप जितने भी हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, उनसे कहना चाहता हूँ, प्रोजेक्ट लाइफ लर्निंग प्रोजेक्ट्स होने चाहिए। जो प्रोजेक्ट प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट जो सोसाइटी का है वो आप दूर करोगे, तभी आप रिसर्चर होगे, तभी आपके पेपर पब्लिश माने जाएंगे, अदरवाइज पेटेंट माने जाएंगे, अदरवाइज वो बेकार है। वो आप कैश के लिए इस्तेमाल कर लीजिए, अपने प्रमोशन के लिए इस्तेमाल कर लीजिए, बट वो आने वाले समय में वो भी UGC और AICTE कुछ ऐसा डालेंगे कि वो भी नहीं चलने वाला। आपके पास पेटेंट नहीं है। 5-6 कंपनियां बता रहा हूं जो US को, जैसे गूगल ले लो आप, गूगल का जो कंपनी की वर्थ है, इट इज, मतलब हम वर्थ को आपकी GDP से कंपेयर करना, 2.5 से $3 ट्रिलियन के बीच में गूगल का है। ऐसे ही एप्पल का है, एनवीडिया का मैंने आपको बताया है, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, आईबीएम, जो पहला $1 ट्रिलियन का क्लब बना, उसमें कोई एक एमआरको की कंपनी है सऊदी अरेबिया की, केवल एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी थी, बाकी सारी कंपनियां स्टार्टअप से शुरू हुई हैं। स्टार्टअप से शुरू होकर इतनी बड़ी बन गई है कि वो एक देश की जीडीपी के बराबर अपनी वर्थ रखती है। अगर यूएस को बीट करना है इंडिया को, या चाइना को बीट करना, अभी हम लोग 5वीं इकोनॉमी में है, 4थी में है, अभी हम 3री होने वाले हैं। जो 3री जब हो जाएंगे तो जो हमारा जो नेक्स्ट टारगेट है वो चाइना का करीब $19 ट्रिलियन का है। हमारा मान लो आपने $5 ट्रिलियन पर अचीव करके आप 3री हो जाएंगे, तो 4.5 से लेके $19 ट्रिलियन चाइना का है और $29 ट्रिलियन यूएस का है। अगर आपको 2047 में विकसित भारत बनना है तो आपको $29 ट्रिलियन जो क्रॉस करना है। अच्छी बात यह है कि हमारा जो जीडीपी का ग्रोथ रेट है वो इन दोनों देशों से बहुत आगे है, तो हम लोग पीछे लगते हुए हम लोगों को उम्मीद है कि 2035 तक हम चाइना को क्रॉस कर सकते हैं। लेकिन ऐसा तो है नहीं कि चाइना चला नहीं जा रहा है, चाइना कहीं चला जा रहा है और हम लोग को खाली सड़क मिलने वाली है, तो वो भी रहेंगे हमारे साथ कंपटीशन में। दूसरा एक जो दूसरी इसमें आपकी क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग है, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, आईओटी है, साइबर सिक्योरिटी है, ब्लॉकचेन है। आप में से कितने लोग मालूम है इस बार हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी ने जो हमारी डिग्री है और मार्कशीट ब्लॉकचेन पे डाली है? देखिए, एक इस बार हम लोगों ने अपनी डिग्री को ब्लॉकचेन पर प्लेस करी है। क्यों करी है? ये कंप्यूटर साइंस के जो एक्सपर्ट्स लोग को सोचना चाहिए क्यों करी है, क्यों जरूरत है उसकी आज की डेट में, सिक्योरिटी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। आने वाले समय में जो दो देशों के बीच में लड़ाई होगी वो इन्हीं टेक्नोलॉजी की लड़ाई होगी। आप ऑपरेशन विजय हुआ था करगिल, मालूम है, और अभी ऑपरेशन सिंदूर हुआ है। इन दोनों के बीच में टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग देख लीजिए आप, ये चेंजेस हैं इतने दिनों के बीच का। उसमें हमारे काफी सैनिक चले गए थे और हम अपने देश के अंदर लड़ रहे थे, और इस बार हमने देश के बॉर्डर को क्रॉस करके लड़ाई करी है। कैजुअलिटी नहीं हुई है टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से। और मान लो एक हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन है, अभी इंडिया ने कैपेबिलिटी हासिल करी है सैटेलाइट को मारने की, मतलब हम एनिमी के सैटेलाइट को स्पेस में हिट कर सकते हैं। तो अगर मान लो हमने या हमारे ही अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे कम्युनिकेशन सैटेलाइट को हिट कर दिया किसी ने, तो क्या होगा? आपका मोबाइल बंद हो जाएगा। आपके जितने सिग्नल हैं मेट्रो के वो सभी कंप्यूटर हो रहे, ये सभी क्लाउड पे चलते हैं, सैटेलाइट से चलते हैं, वो सब बंद हो जाएंगे। आप बैंक के एटीएम में जाएंगे, आप अपना कार्ड लगाएंगे, वो बोलेगा आउट ऑफ सर्विस, ठीक है ना। आपके जितने पावर प्लांट है वो साइबर अटैक के साथ, चाइना ने ऑलरेडी अटैक किया था, जो मुंबई का पावर प्लांट था, साइबर अटैक हुआ था पावर प्लांट पे। तो जहां पर भी हम इन चीजों को उपयोग करते हैं, जैसे आईओटी यूज कर रहे हो आप, तो आईओटी पे साइबर थ्रेट है, तो आपको इस दिशा में भी सोचना पड़ेगा और टेक्नोलॉजी का विकास करते रहो आप, तो अच्छा रहेगा। और दूसरी सबसे अच्छी चीज ये होनी चाहिए कि क्या दुनिया में चल रहा है, वो मेरे को ये बात कहते हुए थोड़ा कष्ट हो रहा है, क्योंकि क्या हुआ कि अभी 2 दिन पहले हम लोग इंटरव्यू कर रहे थे, प्रोफेसर्स को अपॉइंट करने जा रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट का, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली उनको वो डेवलपमेंट, मैंने उनसे पूछा एक क्रेडिट क्या है, मैंने पूछा बीटेक प्रोग्राम कितने क्रेडिट का चलाते हैं, तो पता ही नहीं है। बीटेक पढ़ा रहे हैं, प्रोफेसर होने जा रहे हैं, एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर हैं, और उनको ये नहीं पता कि बीटेक का प्रोग्राम कितने क्रेडिट का है। तो चलो ठीक है, नहीं पता है। मैंने कहा क्रेडिट होता क्या है? 1 क्रेडिट, 3 क्रेडिट, हम आज तो चर्चा कर रहे हैं, 4 क्रेडिट का कोर्स है, तो क्रेडिट होता क्या है? नहीं पता। यूजीसी ने क्या सर्कुलर दिया है? नहीं पता। तो टेक्नोलॉजी भी ऐसे तेज चल रही, मैंने आपको बताया ना, 2 स्टेज हम क्रॉस कर गए हैं और हम लोग को पता ही नहीं चला एआई क्या है। अब हम लोग अवेयरनेस एआई का वर्कशॉप चल रहा है। अभी हम लोगों ने भी अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी में 2 दिन का एआई सबमिट किया था, अभी वर्कशॉप किया था 2 दिन में, सारे वाइस चांसलर को बुला के समझाया गया एआई क्या है, इसके थ्रेट्स क्या है। तो ये अवेयरनेस आपको बहुत जरूरी है। और एआई कोई कंप्यूटर साइंस ओरिएंटेड सब्जेक्ट नहीं है, ये सभी जगहों पे एप्लीकेशन किया जाने वाला सब्जेक्ट है। अभी एक हफ्ते पहले हम लोग एक दूसरे टास्क पे काम कर रहे हैं। मैंने सोचा कि जो कॉपियों का इवेल्युएशन है वो अगर एआई करता तो बहुत अच्छा होता आप लोगों के लिए। हमने उसको 2017 से लेके आज तक की हमारे पास आंसर बुक डिजिटल फॉर्म में पड़ी हुई है, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने स्कैनिंग शुरू करी थी जब हम लोगों ने ऑन स्क्रीन मार्किंग शुरू करी फर्स्ट टाइम इन द यूनिवर्सिटी नॉर्दर्न स्टेट में, तो हम लोग पहले सबसे पहले शुरू किए। तो हमारे पास कॉपी है इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग की कॉपी, मैंने उसको ट्रेन करने के लिए दिया है। वो ट्रेन करके बताएगा कि सॉल्यूशन ओरिजिनल सॉल्यूशन आंसर का ये है और टीचर ने इवेलुएट ये किया, लड़के ने ये दिया। तो मैंने कहा ये चलो ये तो कर लेना, लेकिन अब क्या करना, जैसे जो डिजिटल इवेलुएशन करते हैं आप, तो बगल में सॉल्यूशन बताते जाना। अगर इन्होंने उसको दो नंबर दिया और इसको पाना 3 नंबर है, तो बगल में फ्लैग दे देना कि सर 3 नंबर पाने वाला लड़का है, एक बार फिर से रिव्यू करो, एट द लास्ट रिव्यू करो। तो उसने कहा कि साहब इसको इनको असिस्ट करते हैं टीचर को। मैंने कहा असिस्ट मत करो, नहीं तो ये क्या करेंगे, जो मशीन बोलती जाएगी वही नंबर देते जाएंगे। ये जनरल टेंडेंसी है, मैं आपको ये ट्रुथ है। तो क्योंकि अगर मान लो यूनिवर्सिटी के पास चैलेंज इवैल्यूएशन की संख्या बढ़ रही है, तो इसका मतलब इवैल्यूएशन की क्वालिटी गिर रही है, विश्वास लोगों का कम होता है। तो मैं आपको बताता हूं टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए। दूसरा, अभी केरल में लेटेस्ट एक क्लास में रोबोट ने पूरी क्लास ली। जनरेटिव एआई है, एजेंटिक एआई है, एलएलएम पे काम हो रहा है। आप अपने सब्जेक्ट का एलएलएम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, और एलएलएम क्रिएट करने के लिए कोई कोडिंग की जरूरत नहीं है आपको। जितने भी जो मैकेनिकल के लोग होंगे बैठे, उनको बताना चाहता हूं। इसके टूल्स हैं, ओपन सोर्स में टूल्स अवेलेबल है, पढ़ना है बस। आप चैट जीपीटी यूज करते हैं? हाथ उठाइए जरा, कितने लोग यूज करते हैं? देखिए बहुत संख्या है। तो जब चैट जीपीटी यूज कर सकते हो, तो आप अपना एलएलएम भी बना सकते हैं, एसएलएम बना सकते हैं, स्मॉल लैंग्वेज मॉडल, लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल पे काम कर सकते हैं। तो रोबोट ने क्लास ली। अब मान लीजिए रोबोट क्लास लेने लगे और उसको ट्रेन कर देंगे आशु जी कि ये मैकेनिकल का भी करेगा, एडिटिव मैन्युफैक्चरिंग भी पढ़ाएगा, साइबर सिक्योरिटी भी पढ़ाएगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। तो फिर वही क्लास लेगा, उसका चेहरा बदल जाएगा। जब एडिटिव मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पढ़ाने वाले टीचर का चेहरा उस पर दिखने लगेगा। तो ये थ्रेट है हमारे लिए, जो यहाँ लोग बैठे हैं, हम सभी लोग टेक्नोलॉजी के लोग हैं। टेक्नोलॉजी पर तो टेक्नोलॉजी तो हम विकास कर ही रहे हैं, बट हमारे ऊपर भी थ्रेट है। इनोवेट करते रहेंगे, इनोवेशन करेंगे तो आप आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे। और इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजी, इसका कोई लिमिट नहीं है, स्काई इज द लिमिट। हम लोगों के पास फिजिकल सर्वर था, हम क्लाउड सर्वर पर चले गए। तो ये सारी चीजें हो रही हैं, और निश्चित तौर पे विकसित भारत बनना है तो, और बनेगा किसके भरोसे? आप ही लोगों के भरोसे देश को बनना है। 2047 में विकसित बनना है और मजबूत राष्ट्र के रूप में बनना है। और हमारे पास अपॉर्चुनिटी बहुत है, और आपके पास एनवीडिया की लैब है, और भी सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस। इससे पहले भी मैं आया था, मैंने देखा था आपका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बहुत अच्छा है, उसका ज्यादा से ज्यादा उपयोग करना है। अभी हम लोग चर्चा कल कर रहे थे कि कैसे आपकी लैब के लिए लड़के मॉडल बनाए। आप फैकल्टी मेंबर्स उन मॉडल बनाने के लिए उनको प्रमोट करिए कि मॉडल बनाए, सोसाइटी की प्रॉब्लम लें, उस पर काम करें। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में जो ड्रोन यूज हुए हैं, वो ड्रोन, उसमें से 40% ड्रोन तो आपके इसी एनसीआर से गए थे, आपको पता ही नहीं लगा। स्टार्टअप्स कंपनियां हैं जिन्होंने ड्रोन बनाए थे भारतीय सेना के लिए। मेरा आज एक बार फिर मैडम आपको और पूरी टीम को बधाई, आशु जी को बधाई कि आपने सेमिनार शुरू किया, और इन टेक्नोलॉजी पर आप फोकस करते रहिएगा। इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजी है, इसकी कोई लिमिट नहीं है। मैंने तो नोट करा था हाँ, अगला बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, अमेरिका के पास इस समय जो कंप्यूटिंग पावर है वो 80% से ज्यादा अमेरिका के पास है। इंडिया की जो कंप्यूटिंग पावर है, अगर वर्ल्ड में शेयर करोगे, इट इज कमिंग अराउंड 2.5% ओनली। चाइना के पास भी उतना नहीं है। तो चाइना ने क्या किया, उसने एक टेक्नोलॉजी दूसरी इवॉल्व कर रहे हैं, क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी। सुना है नाम आपने? इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने क्वांटम मिशन लॉन्च किया, उसको जाइएगा देखिएगा। क्वांटम मिशन में आपका क्या रोल हो सकता है? हमने भी अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी में 18 से 20 क्रेडिट का एक क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी पर एक माइनर कोर्स फ्लोट करने जा रहे हैं अगले सेमेस्टर से। उसमें भी बच्चों को बताना कि क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी को करना है। क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी, अभी हम लोग गए थे इसरो में, उनके यहाँ क्वांटम पर काम कर रहे हैं, वो कैसे रिफॉर्म करने वाला है। जो आपके हाथ में मोबाइल है वो अब आपका मोबाइल उस तरह का रह नहीं जाएगा, पूरा हार्डवेयर चेंज होगा। अभी तक आप इलेक्ट्रॉन चलता था, आपके मोबाइल में इलेक्ट्रॉन चल रहा है, हम बात कर रहे हैं इलेक्ट्रॉन के माध्यम से आप तक आवाज जा रही है। बट अब वो जो क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी है, इसके अंदर लाइट का ट्रेवल होना है। मतलब मैं ब्रॉडर टेक्नोलॉजी पे नहीं जा रहे हैं, मतलब ये एक इम्पोर्टेंट टेक्नोलॉजी है और इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजी ये आने वाले समय में बड़ी होगी, क्योंकि इसकी कोई लिमिट नहीं है। ये आप कितना भी साइबर सिक्योर करके सिस्टम रखेंगे, ये तोड़ेगा नहीं, क्योंकि इसका जो अप्रोच है वो दूसरा है कंपेयर टू जो प्रेजेंट टेक्नोलॉजिकल अप्रोच है। तो आप क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी पे भी आप लोग काम करिएगा इन एडिशन टू दिस इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजी। तो इन सब चीजों को आप काम करेंगे निश्चित रूप से। आपके माध्यम से इस छात्र का और छात्रों के माध्यम से इस संस्थान का विकास हो और संस्थान के माध्यम से देश का और प्रदेश का विकास हो, ये हमारी कामना है। एक बार फिर मैडम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring us today. Now I request the respected dignitaries to kindly proceed with the release of the conference souvenir, which reflect the academic vision, scholarly contribution, and collective efforts behind the national conference. Thank you so much. May I now request Professor Dr. Bashar Singh, Program Chair of the conference, to kindly grace the podium.
Good morning, all of you. Honorable Chief Guest Vice Chancellor of ETCA-2026, Professor J.P. Pandey sir, Honorable Chairman sir, Sri Asu Goyal ji, respected Director Ma'am, Dr. Upasana Pandey, today's keynote speaker, Dr. Nishit Narang sir, and guest speaker, Dr. Sapna Katiyar ma'am, Registrar and Director Admin, Dr. Vaibhav Jain, respected Deans, Principal of Pharmacy, Head of Department, faculty member, research scholar, students, and all participants. On behalf of AVS Institute of Technology, I, Dr. Hoshyar Singh Kanyal, Program Chair of the conference, extend my sincere gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Vice Chancellor of ETCA-2026, Professor Dr. J.P. Pandey sir, for gracing this national conference with his esteemed presence and valuable guidance. Sir, your precious time and inspiring words have truly enriched the proceedings and motivated the entire academic fraternity present here. Now, we may seek your kind consent to formally commence the proceeding of this national conference.
I declare the National Conference ETCA-2026 officially open.
With your gracious permission, we now formally declare the National Conference of Emerging Technology in Computer Application open. Sir, we remain deeply thankful for your continued encouragement and wish for a very pleasant onwards engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With this, we close the inaugural ceremony of the AICT-sponsored National Conference on Emerging Technology. be seated. With this, we close the inaugural ceremony of the AICT-sponsored National Conference on Emerging Technology in Computer Application. We extend our sincere gratitude to the Honorable Chief Guest, distinguished guests, all our dignitaries and participants for the gracious presence and valuable contribution which made this inaugural session truly meaningful. May I now respectfully request our keynote speaker, Dr. Nishit Narang, and our guest, Dr. Sapna Katiyar, to please make a move and be seated at the sofa. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to invite my co-anchor, Dr. Midul Sarkar, to the stage and request her to kindly take the conference proceeding forward.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. It is our privilege to invite our keynote speaker, Dr. Nishit Narang, Group Head of CSIS, Work Integrated Learning Programs at BITS Pilani. With over 23 years of rich experience in the IT industry and more than 5 years in academia, he brings a strong blend of industry insight and academic depth. He previously served as Assistant Vice President Technology as Altran, now Cape Gemini Engineering. His core focus areas include communication networks, cybersecurity, cyber physical systems and IoT, applied machine learning, and cloud computing. A respected technical author, he has written 4 internationally published books with McGraw-Hill in the domain of mobile and communication networks. Through his leadership at BITS Pilani, he is deeply committed to strengthening industry-academia collaboration, fostering innovation, enhancing skill development, and addressing real-world challenges through collaborative research, curriculum alignment, and knowledge exchange. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Nishit Narang to the stage. Please, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I think we can do better. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Sir is okay, but yeah, just let's bring in some energy. Okay, so I'm really thankful to ABSIT for giving this opportunity for me to address such an august audience at the first National Conference on Emerging Technologies and Computer Applications. I think the theme for the conference has been very, very aptly been selected. If we look around us, I think we will remember this moment in history as being one of those very pivotal moments. Why do I say it's a pivotal moment? It's a time when emerging technologies, they're not just reshaping industries. I think our chief guest, Professor Pandey, mentioned a lot about the technologies and how they are impacting whatever is happening around us in the industry. So definitely it's a moment when all these emerging technologies are impacting, they're reshaping the industry. A very big impact that they are making is that they are completely redesigning the very fabric of society. I'm sure every one of us here feels strongly affected by the technologies that we see around us, I doubt there is anybody amongst us here who can very confidently stand up and say, technology has not impacted my lifestyle or technology has not impacted the way I work, the way I learn, the way I teach. Okay? So it's not just something which helps reshape industries, it's something that completely reshapes the society at large. It's not that this is the first time that we are seeing technologies coming in a very big way. Professor Pandey mentioned this sky is the limit, emerging technologies. And when we say emerging, there'll always be some technology which is coming up, so there'll always be an emerging technology. And it's not that the technologies that we talk about today is something that came into existence in the last 1 decade. It's something that has been work in progress over a very, very long period of time. So when we talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning today, it's something that we feel is something new. I really liked when Professor Pandey mentioned and he said, 2 generations of AI ML already passed us and we never realized it's happened. The fact is, AI has always been a discipline of study for many decades. I mean, I would say even back in 1990s when I was enrolled in a BTech program, AI was one of the courses in the curriculum that we would study. So what has changed? Why is AI such an important technology? Why is everybody talking about AI or machine learning today? The fact is that the technology itself definitely has evolved. At that point in time, we would talk about basic algorithms in artificial intelligence which could do simple problems, classification, right, clustering. But today, AI has gone to a level where we talk about generative AI or we talk about agentic AI. Now, this hasn't happened in isolation. AI as a technology hasn't evolved because of advancements in the algorithms, but it's backed by other technologies. So cloud computing or cloud platforms have become an inherent enabler for artificial intelligence and machine learning. Why? Because a lot of computational power goes behind running these complex algorithms that modern day AI or ML employs. It cannot be done without strong backing for hardware manufacturing organizations, GPU support. So essentially, what are we saying? We're saying it's the convergence of technologies which creates unprecedented opportunities. AI, ML coupled with data science, backed by cloud computing, secured by cybersecurity techniques, and driven using software engineering principles. This convergence is what is creating unprecedented opportunities. So wherever there are opportunities, there are certainly challenges. So the world we live in today, there are immense opportunities, but there are challenges that we need to overcome. Now, what is our role in the current situation? We need to understand how these technologies are transforming our world. We need to be very clear about what kind of innovations can be done or made utilizing these technologies. Again, I keep referring back to the inspirational talk Professor Pandey gave, but this is what he alluded to. He said, continue to focus on these technologies, but from a perspective of mindset of what can I do? How can I innovate? He gave you a few examples of how the university could benefit as a whole. The institution, ABS, IT could benefit by using these technologies for newer innovations, maybe in the space of education as a start, and extending it to other domains like healthcare and so on. So as a community of researchers, as a community of practitioners ourselves, even as students who are going to be the future torch bearers for these technologies, we need to be the ones to understand how we can harness these technologies for their good, but also importantly, in a responsible manner. Okay? So in summary, just to give a broad perspective of what my talk is going to cover today, we try to look beyond the horizon. We do stand at a time which is very interesting. I mentioned, as I said, this is a pivotal moment in history. But it is still just the horizon that we are seeing. We need to look beyond the horizon. We need to imagine what is the future that we can build. And together, I'm sure the National Conference on Emerging Technologies and Computing Applications at ABSIT, it's the first step. I'm sure you will take many steps further in that direction. And this will become one of the methods that we will use to reimagine the future. Okay, so before I talk about these emerging technologies and what is the innovation that can come out of using these technologies, let me just start by asking a question to everybody about it. So we are very gung-ho about all these technologies. We know they are reshaping our world, it's going to change everything, it's going to have a big societal impact. But the one question I have for everybody, and be honest everybody, are we scared? Louder, please. We are scared, and thank you for being honest. I mean, there's no shame in accepting what we feel inside of us. We are scared. Okay? We go to a lot of conferences, we go to a lot of conclaves, talk to a lot of people. And yes, everybody is very, very excited about the technologies that are coming in. But at the back of the mind, we carry a fear as well, which is, are we going to, for example, lose jobs? Is technology going to make life difficult for us rather than simplify it? So that's the fear that we all carry. Now, I would say it's good to carry that small element of fear. It's good to be honest with ourselves that it is a little scary. I mean, if I want to put it that way, but it's good. Because an element of fear, a slight element of fear, only propels us to take the challenge head on and move, align, change with the times, and get better at what we do. Okay? So if you're scared, there's nothing to be worried about. I think it's only a positive sign. It's only human to be scared. But as human characteristics goes, it helps us move forward. It helps us improve. It helps us align with the changing times. So here's a trivia for all of you. Do you know where the concept of human in the loop originated? And an associated question. Do you know how it relates to vibe coding? By the way, everybody knows what I mean by vibe coding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, who can answer that for me? What is vibe coding? Yeah, please. You have to be louder.
So when we use tool like a cursor on a anti-gravity and used to solve our problem. So like I can tell the cursor what is my problem statement. He can help me write a code.
Yes.
But that code is very debuggy and very hallucinated code.
Yes.
And here a human comes and debug the code and try to solve it simply.
Excellent. What's your name?
Sahil.
Sahil. Thank you, Sahil. So maybe I just summarize, Sahil, of what you said. It's all about using AI-assisted practices in software development, right? When I code, I use an AI tool to help me code, while coding. But then coming back to the first point, human in the loop, it's not something which is a new concept. Right? Let me just answer it for you since I think it may not be a very conducive environment to go around a question answer kind of a model. So human in the loop is a very old concept, originated way back when control systems were envisioned and they were automated. And many of these control systems, they were controlling safety critical solutions or systems. Professor Pandey mentioned about the attack on power facilities in Mumbai, and orchestrated by some Chinese actors. These are the kind of safety critical systems we are talking about. And the control systems which automate and manage these safety critical systems, they always follow the concept of human in the loop, which means that you may automate all of the regular day-to-day tasks or working of that system, but you always have a human supervisor, somebody who's constantly monitoring the system, supervising the system. Why? Because there can always be uncertainties. The human is required to be in loop, handle those uncertainties. If there's a catastrophic failure, try to prevent it. Now, when you look at it in the context of vibe coding, we're predominantly doing the same thing. We are outsourcing some of the mundane tasks to an AI-assisted tool while retaining the power with us. I was saying, okay, give me a piece of code, and as Sahil said, the AI tool may hallucinate. It may not give me something which is perfect. It may have bugs. But as a supervisor of that tool, I improve it. So essentially, I at start give the intent, which is what he said, I provide the prompts. I declare the intent for the tool. I drive the taste. I decide the direction. While the system is going to handle all the execution. So if I put it that way, is having an assistant with everybody such a bad thing to have? Not really. Actually, that gives me some memories of my time when I started my first full-time job way back again in 1990s. And that was a time when coding as a skill was highly expected of any engineer starting their job in the IT industry. I had a colleague who joined alongside me from a very prestigious university again, and goes without saying he was a very strong technical mind, very strong technically, but he had no love for coding. Now, it didn't take him a lot of time before he honestly announced to his supervisor saying, "Sir, you can even give me an assignment to write 1,000 lines of code, or you can give me a person who will write it for me and give me the responsibility of the entire project, the entire module. I will make all the design decisions. I will drive the solution. I will give you the solution upfront before deadline. So either give me 1,000 lines of code to write or give me the entire responsibility and do everything for you." For years, we laughed, citing that. It became a joke. We laughed at him at social occasions, citing that as an instance. But today, when we look back, all he was asking was an assistant while he could do the bigger tasks at hand. So that's what AI, techniques like vibe coding enable for us. It changes the way we think. We've been conditioned to think in a particular way. As I said, more than 25 years back, what I'm talking about. Everybody was expected to code. And today we are saying, okay, it's no big deal. If an AI assistant can code for you, but you can make those important decisions yourself, that's good enough. You have to scale up. You have to move up the ladder. So with that, let me just give you a brief about where we stand today in 2026, what is the technology landscape, and how are these technologies converging together to reshape the industries that we have, modern day industry. The first aspect is that, which I mentioned earlier and I'm re-emphasizing, we should not look at these technologies in isolation. What they bring in is a convergence that drives a unified digital ecosystem. So whether it's AI, cloud computing, data engineering, cybersecurity, all of them converge to create automated, scalable digital ecosystems. And these ecosystems are not industry specific, but used across industries, which is one industry which is not impacted by cloud. Everybody uses it. One industry not impacted by AI. Any industry which doesn't care about cybersecurity today. So these are not industry specific technologies, they are industry agnostic, and they converge together and impact. They form a unified digital ecosystem that impacts every industry. AI solutions, I mentioned AI algorithms existed way back 40 years before as well, more than 4 decades back. But today we talk about distributed architectures where AI solutions and agents operate across a platform, where cloud is involved, where edge computing is involved, and do everything from perception to reasoning to decision making with very minimal human input. Technologies like mobile communication. We already are in the 5G era, but 6G and 7G are already work in progress. IoT is almost like everywhere today. I doubt anybody here can say I don't have an IoT solution at home. Whether it's a smart TV, which is nothing but an IoT device today connected to the internet and streaming video on demand, or whether it is a connected car which connects to a backend cloud and helps me track my driving patterns, help me track or diagnose any problem in my car. We all have IoT devices at home, or even a small Fitbit device that we wear to track our health. We are all impacted by IoT. But while some of these solutions can live with latency, there are others which are latency sensitive. Okay? So the modern IoT solutions that we're looking at are some of these latency sensitive advanced IoT solutions like autonomous vehicles. A vehicle which can drive on its own, but is a smart device, it's an autonomous device, it's an IoT device, it's still part of the IoT ecosystem. But it cannot be implemented, an autonomous vehicle solution cannot be implemented by just strictly following the distributed IoT architecture or the cloud-driven IoT architecture because of the latency that's involved. So how do we solve that? We bring computing closer to the edge and we employ edge computing. So we think solutions like real-time decision making, predictive maintenance, right? They all require a combination convergence of technologies. I'm again and again giving you examples to highlight why convergence of these technologies is so important. Okay. Lastly, but something we should not forget and we often underestimate is the importance of cybersecurity as a discipline or as a domain area. Irrespective of what these digital ecosystems can enable for us, one of the biggest risks we carry, again, I think everything that I want to say, Professor Pandey already alluded to. He said, somebody shoots down our communication satellite, everything goes for a toss. Chinese actors bring down a power plant in Mumbai, and almost 12 districts of Mumbai are impacted by an outage, with everything coming to a standstill, from elevators in high-rise buildings to the suburban railway. The entire city is at halt. So the biggest threat that these technologies bring in is the ability of an attacker to bring them down and bring our lives to a standstill. So cybersecurity is a very, very big concern area, and therefore there are newer security architectures, zero trust models, some of you may have heard of them. AI and ML practices in cybersecurity. How can you use AI ML in cybersecurity to help protect against some of these tasks? All of this is driving interdisciplinary work, and that's once again highlighting the importance of convergence of technology. So let's look at each of these key technologies and how it integrates, converges with other technologies, and what kind of progress are we seeing in these domain areas. So if you look at AI and ML, the modern algorithms are not the ones which we studied 2 or 3 decades back. The modern algorithms can generate content, not just understand content, but generate content. So we are in the world of generative AI. We are moving towards agentic AI, where agents can do all the work for us. But it's not just that they can deal with one kind of content, which was predominantly true in the earlier algorithms. They could only understand and interpret data. But today, when you look at the advances in AI and ML, you're talking about multimodal AI systems. Multimodal indicating models which can understand text, image, audio, IoT device generated sensor data. All of this to create a knowledge base which can solve cross-domain challenges very, very easily. So multimodal AI systems is what we are looking at, and that is one of the key areas where advancements are happening. Autonomous agents are driving automation across industries. That's where agentic AI steps in. And from use cases in the industry, from supply chain optimization to automating IT operations with techniques like reinforcement learning, agentic AI is reshaping how we look at the ways industries work. Not just that, AI is completely reshaping the way we look at the domain of software engineering. So, by the way, that Bits recently introduced a program where we focus on AI-driven software engineering. Now, what are we trying to address? We are trying to say that the older methods of software engineering, no matter how important and relevant they may be, they are changing. We have to recognize change. And if vibe coding is going to remain, or if AI-driven software development is going to become a practice, we cannot stay away from it. So software engineering, AI co-pilots, automated coding, it helps improve productivity. It helps reduce the development time. I can do a year's job in maybe a couple of weeks. So why not employ those productivity techniques to improve and move forward further? I mean, there's a big challenge in front of us. We have to grow as a developing economy and very, very fast. So why not use these productivity aids to help move forward faster? The important thing though, in the area of AI and ML, is when you do this, we may take our eyes off a very important thing, which is use of AI in a responsible manner. Are we ethically employing AI solutions? Because with great power comes great responsibility. So AI gives you a lot of power. But if I'm not the one who's going to use it with responsibility, I may end up misusing it. AI can be used to launch a variety of cybersecurity attacks. People do it all the time. AI is used to generate content which is fake, misleading. So there are a lot of negatives associated with any technology. How do we ethically and responsibly use AI? It's becoming a large focus, big focus, and for sure a part of the curriculum that deals with AI and ML programs. So, okay, I think we all know a lot of case studies, but I just thought I'd touch upon the ways in which AI impacts of industries. Probably just quickly, in the interest of time, walk through by saying, look at the manufacturing industry. Machine learning systems are instrumental, requires maintenance. So, predictive maintenance using ML models can reduce downtime and costs by 40% in a manufacturing industry. When you look at the banking and finance industry, cyber frauds, financial frauds are one of the biggest losses that these industries make. How can ML help me? How can AI help me? Deep learning models can recognize patterns. They can identify more easily than a human can patterns in data that can help me figure or identify a fraud, a potential leak earlier than a human can. And therefore, it can help in fraud detection and prevention. Look at retail industry. So earlier, we used to look at Facebook, we used to write something on WhatsApp, and that is something the content was inherited into a model, which was a kind of a recommendation engine, which would tell us based on what we've been consuming as content, what we may like. And retail industry has actually enhanced those models, made them as personalization engines. So AI-driven engines help provide you with product recommendations. They help you give the right products which you probably will like because they fall in the right price point for you. And that essentially helps the retail industries in boosting their sales, and it also betters customer engagement. Healthcare definitely is one of the major industries which is actually even in the forefront of adopting AI. In fact, finance and healthcare are two industries which were the first movers in adopting AI technology. Because disease detection, patient monitoring, medical image analysis, all of it could benefit so much by using AI tools. By the way, I saw my son doing an assignment from his college yesterday, and the assignment was all about using an ML model for neuroimaging. So he had scans of MRI that he had. All he had to do was, in those MRI scans, use an ML model to determine which voxels in what regions of the brain were activated when the MRI flashing lights were introduced to the subject. So ML is everywhere, and AI is definitely one of the biggest technologies that is reshaping all the different industries that we see around us. Okay, now as I said, technologies don't exist in isolation. So AI and ML models don't work in isolation at all. What do we need? Machine learning is all about learning. So where does the data for this learning comes in from? We need curated data, we need engineered data, and that is where data science, real-time data collection, data analytics, that comes in. So as we all say today, data is the new oil. In cybersecurity, we say many years back, people were building fortresses to protect what they were valuing most. But what we value most today is data. That is the gold we are trying to protect. So data science and data analytics is a very large and emerging discipline. I personally feel it's a little overshadowed by terms like AI and ML, but AI ML doesn't exist in isolation. What drives it is a very large discipline sitting behind it, behind the scenes, data science and real-time data analytics. So predictive analytics, edge analytics, which I mentioned earlier, autonomous vehicles, they all rely on quick, low latency real-time decision making that's all done on edge analytics and IoT. It's a very vast, important and growing area. It's a growing area of research and development. Now, when we talk about AI, we said responsible AI and ethics is a very important area within AI discipline. Same way, when you look at data science and data analytics, there have to be well-defined policies and frameworks that define how data governance needs to be done, or how should we keep a monitor, a check on how data is being used or misused. So data protection frameworks, data privacy acts, something which the Western countries woke up to much earlier than us. We have for medical data, healthcare data, the HIPAA compliance laws in the US, which came in many decades earlier, I think almost like 2 decades back. And the more recent Data Privacy Act in Europe, the GDPR Act, also came in early 2000s. But it's only quite late that we woke up to the issues that could exist if data is misused, and we are now talking very, very proactively about data privacy, data governance, and all those aspects. So that's another important thing that we must focus on. Cloud computing enables low-cost, economical, ubiquitous, in just about from anywhere, access to distributed systems. And distributed systems drive our solutions today. Wherever you require performance, you require high throughput computing or high performance computing, you look towards distributed systems. But the beauty of the cloud is that it provides you access to those distributed systems at very, very economical cost and from anywhere across the globe. So what we see industries embracing in a very big way is the multi-cloud and hybrid cloud models. What is a hybrid cloud model? A model where I say, okay, traditionally I used to have all my servers, all my resources in premise, in my own enterprise, in my own organization. But as cloud computing provides me cheaper, more economical, and maybe also more reliable ways of deploying these solutions, some of my services I can definitely move to the cloud. And if I'm just trying to architect here, the services could be services which are more public facing. Internal systems I may want to still keep on-premise, but the public facing systems I might want to move to a cloud hosted platform. That gives rise to a hybrid cloud. When I talk about multi-cloud, it's all about using more than one cloud service providers like AWS or Azure. to deploy my solution because certain services are cheaper with AWS, the others are cheaper with Azure, and I want to get the benefits of all of them. So hybrid multi-cloud models are the new age deployment techniques that enterprises use to deploy their solutions. Serverless architectures have become important. I like to look at my compute not as a dedicated resource. I like to look my computation as a piece of code. And when I have to implement or execute that piece of code, I should be dynamically assigned some compute engine which runs it, I get the output, and that engine can be free. So serverless computing. Cloud native architectures. These are the things that everybody talks about today in the industry. A very interesting field in cloud that has lately picked up is the integration of FinOps with cloud, finance. Because lately people have started to realize that the cloud models which I moved towards because I thought they were cheaper are actually not turning out to be that cheap. Now, was there a mistake I made? The reality is I do not often architect my solutions in a way. I don't look at what is the way I should design my solution so that I can run those on the cloud with cheaper costs. And that's where FinOps comes in. That's where the whole domain of cloud economics comes in. It's the understanding of financial concepts and accounting principles with cloud engineering to say what is my best way of deploying a solution. And that's where multi-cloud also comes in. Should I put this on AWS? Should I put this on Azure? So FinOps, cost optimization, those are areas that are picking up in a big way. These are career options that are picking up in big ways. Right? People are looking at engineers who have that skill, they have an understanding of finance, yet they have a good understanding of cloud models and can actually work in that cross-domain. I've already mentioned this. AI operations rely heavily, the last bullet point, on the availability of distributed platforms that cloud readily provides. Okay. So while all these technologies are important, I said cybersecurity is something we cannot just leave behind. Often as technologists, this becomes our last priority. It's not because people don't care. It's because cybersecurity has always been and will remain what we call as a balancing act. Can I tell you what I mean by a balancing act? Reminds me of a quote that President Eisenhower, he was the 34th President of the United States of America, somebody who holds that kind of a position. And he made a statement, he said, I'm just trying to recollect exactly, maybe a few words here and there, but he said, we will bankrupt ourselves in the vain search for absolute security. Think of it, coming from the head of probably the most progressed country in the globe, and he makes a statement which to some people appears to be highly pessimistic, using words like bankrupt, vain search. But if you look at that statement in totality, what did he mean to say? You can't read it in isolation, you have to read it together and say, we will bankrupt ourselves in the vain search for absolute security. Because can we ever say we are absolutely secure? We can never be. And if we try to approach cybersecurity from that kind of a binary perspective, 0 or 1, that's what he meant. If we want to be always at that level 1, we'll just bankrupt ourselves. There's nothing like absolute security. So cybersecurity has always been and will remain a balancing act. You do a trade-off between the budget I have and the risk appetite I carry. And then, as a chief executive officer, let's say, of the organization, I make a decision, this is for the next year, the budget that I'm going to allocate to cybersecurity. And that is where the business or the process team comes in and says, okay, with this kind of a budget and knowing the risk environment and understanding the risk appetite of the organization, this is where I want to put that money in. Or this is how I want to invest it. So it's always a balancing act. So it's not that people don't look at it, it's always never the priority. You always want to balance it. But it's extremely important because the more these technologies become a part of our everyday life, the more vulnerable we are if these are not secure. So we are moving towards in cybersecurity models which we call as zero trust security models. Anybody here who's heard of these? Zero trust. The cloud models run on zero trust architectures. What we mean by that is when you look at in traditional enterprises, organizations, we relied on a trust model which told us implicitly that anybody who's an internal actor can be trusted, anybody who's outsider is where the threat is. That's what we always believed traditionally, many years back. We would say, okay, this is organization, all my employees, all my contractors who work from within the organization, I can trust them. But it's these outsiders who are the ones who I have a threat from. That's no longer true. Insider threat is one of the biggest threats to an industry. Whether it's disgruntled employees, I feel I've been wrongly fired. How can I take it back on the organization? Disgruntled employees, contractors, one of internal threats are many. And therefore the modern approach to cybersecurity is zero trust. I don't trust anybody. And I move to a model where I say, I will authenticate everybody. I will authorize any access post authentication, and therefore any resource to anybody, whether internal or external, will always go through a system of authentication, authorization, and access control. So this is why these kind of architecture models are becoming so relevant in the modern environment. We are using AI and ML practices more and more in cybersecurity. A traditional firewall, which has been the mainstay of enterprises, used to run by only looking at the packet headers in an IP network packet. But today, AI with its deep packet inspection capabilities allows a firewall to become what we call as a next generation firewall. It has capabilities to go deep into the application data, scan for viruses, scan for malware, look at patterns, do what we call as behavioral analysis, detect intrusion attempts. So our regular appliances, firewalls have become next generation firewalls. Intrusion detection and prevention systems, which used to use signature-based methods, today use behavioral methods to detect intrusion. AI/ML practices are modernizing our cybersecurity appliances. The next big threat to cybersecurity comes from quantum computing. Okay? So in information security, there's a concept called, okay, the name, but the idea is, yeah, so you generally in layman terms say, is it unconditional security? Which we also sometimes call as information theoretic security. What do we mean by that? It means take an attacker, give him infinite amount of compute power and infinite amount of time, and let him break the system. Is any of the systems that we have today, any digital system, do we see unconditional information theoretic security? We don't. A brute force attack will break anything given the time and the compute power. So what do our cryptographic algorithms rely on? They rely on the fact that nobody has infinite compute power and nobody has all the time in the world to break a system. And by the time they are able to break it, the system is already been outdated. That's what our cryptographic algorithms rely on. But as quantum computing steps in, what changes? The computing paradigm changes. We're now able to do the same processing 10 to 100 times faster. Can our cryptographic algorithm survive that kind of an onslaught? May not. So post-quantum cryptography is a very big area of focus in cybersecurity. Okay, I already mentioned that software engineering discipline itself is changing quite significantly. We used to learn the regular software development life cycle processes, waterfall models for software development, incremental models for software development, then came in agile model for software engineering. And today we talk about not just DevOps, we talk about DevSecOps. Okay. In fact, this with the introduction of cloud has been further augmented, and we now call it DevSecFinOps. Develop, secure, make sure it is financially viable, and then operate. And that cycle continues. So it's no longer even DevSecOps, it's DevSecFinOps that we talk about. So we are integrating security with software engineering. We are saying left shift security practices, protect software not just after deployment but right from the development stage itself. DevSecOps. That's how we have to look at it. Microservices is the modern way of looking at any modern day software applications. Because applications have become complex, and a monolithic application architecture or even a modular architecture, the way we used to define modularity 10 years back is no longer the way we define modularity today. So while the term modularity may still hold the same definition in your textbooks, the architecture of a modular application has definitely changed. We move towards microservice-based architecture. And why is this change? Because most modern applications get deployed on the cloud. We want to benefit from the elasticity of the cloud. What is elasticity? The ability to expand or reduce computing resources based on demand, based on traffic. And if I have to make use of the elasticity of the cloud infrastructure, my application has to be designed accordingly. And that's where the microservices architecture comes in. But then I want these microservices and applications to be completely independent so that they can be moved around in multi-cloud environments. I can move it from one, from the Azure cloud and move it to AWS. Comes in containerization, Dockers, Kubernetes. So technologies don't work. Once again, I'm re-emphasizing, technologies don't work in isolation. And therefore, the message for us as practitioners, as engineers, as would-be engineers, students today, is never make the mistake of saying, I will focus on AI/ML only, or I will focus on data science only. I don't like these, I will only focus on cybersecurity. You can specialize as you go above your graduation, BTech, to post-graduation, to research. You can think about your area of specialization, research. You cannot discount knowledge in any of the fundamental technologies today. So this is the time when you focus on everything. Okay, the last thing, moving beyond technology. One thing that I want to mention today is the whole concept of global capability centers that is not just impacting India, actually it's impacting India in a very, very big way, but it's a new concept for the entire global market as well. Industries are moving towards what we call as global capability centers. They are more and more being seen as innovation hubs and innovation drivers. What do we mean by global capability centers? The fact, we used to earlier call them MNCs, multinational companies, companies which have presence across the globe. But 10 or 20 years back, the presence of an organization in India did not mean that that organization was doing meaningful, innovative work in India. And that should sound demeaning, but that is the truth. Most of the back-end maintenance, low-hanging, easy tasks were outsourced to engineers working out of the India facilities. And that's one thing we've changed over the last few decades. We've demonstrated to the world that Indian engineers are far superior to those that we find across the globe. And that change in perception has meant that more and more global capability centers are opening up in India. A couple of weeks back, I was at the GCC Leadership Conclave in Pune, and you could see the enthusiasm, the participation from so many heads of global capability centers. who are looking at India as the innovation hub for their global system software solution development. So GCCs have completely transformed, especially in India, from just being back offices, KPOs, BPOs, to being innovation hubs, which are driving innovation, which are driving research, which are driving new product development. There is more focus on AI and model governance in these GCCs today. And the GCCs are what are driving not just Indian market, but the global market digital transformation. Many made in India solutions are being exported to across the globe. If you hear and if you look at our Prime Minister's vision, I'm sure everybody was very actively following the budget a couple of days back, 1st of February. Yes, personal taxation is definitely one of the biggest interesting things for us to look at how have the taxes changed. But if you look at the bigger picture that came out from that budget, was the focus that the government has on these emerging technologies. And not just in building, there was a big focus and a clear focus on making India the powerhouse for IT service market and taking a sizable fraction of the entire global services market. So everything that is built in India, exported to the world. That's the vision. I'm not sure how many are familiar, but 16th to 20th of Feb, we have the AI Summit happening in Delhi. Everybody or anybody has heard of it? We have, right? It's a mega event. It's a global event, supported by the government, led by the government, but backed by the industry. We have all the big names from Sundar Pichai from Google or Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, even the biggest names in the Indian market. Everybody is attending. It's a big time for our country. So when we heard people say years back, "Apna time aayega," today I think we would say "Apna time aa gaya." And why is that? Because the progress of a country is only measured or driven by four key things. The young population. At a global scale, I think we rank at number 1 there. Our population, I think the average population age is somewhere around 29. No other country in the world has that kind of a young population. So all the students, young engineers sitting over here, that's the message I have to give. Take that as your strength, as the strength of this country. We have the youngest population in the world. What is the second factor that makes a country powerful? The economy. We are today the world's 4th largest economy, on track to become the 3rd largest. Third, the military power. We are probably the 4th largest military of the world. We are much ahead in defense and defense-related research. We've seen the power of our defense research during Operation Sindoor. So, young population, economy, military, the 3 factors that drive, right? And then the collective power of our industry. Okay? So, India is leading in almost every aspect of this. As a country, we are poised to make history. Global capability centers, organizations across the globe are seeing that. That is the reason we see a big surge in global capability centers coming up in India, opening new job opportunities. Okay? So what we should fear, definitely we should fear, is the lack of job opportunity. What we should definitely admit is that the low-hanging jobs, the entry-level jobs, are not going to stay. Okay? AI is going to replace them. We cannot be hiding ourselves from that fact. At the same time, it helps us understand this, rise higher, look at more research, innovation that is coming as in the form of opportunities with these GCCs coming to India. So the important thing is the last bullet on this slide: talent development and collaboration. It's very important to recognize this and develop talent to meet that expectation. And that is where the importance of our future workforce, the interdisciplinary skill development comes in. That is one message I want to give to all participants of this national conference, use this as an opportunity for sharing knowledge. Network together, connect to each other, share knowledge, because that's the only way, or that's one of the ways in which you go learn a lot more very, very quickly in very little time. It helps you build interdisciplinary skills. It helps evolve educational models. These conferences are extremely important in the perspective of an academic institution. It provides researchers an opportunity to work towards future research in all of these technologies that we talked about. We cannot continue to look ourselves, as I mentioned earlier, as an expert in one area, but we have to be open to playing hybrid roles. Continuous learning is the mantra that I will give to you, which you have to carry through your life. You cannot say, I can stop learning at some point in time, and once I get into the industry, once I get a job, you can ask your teachers, students who are sitting over, you can ask your faculty, have they stopped learning? No. So continuous learning is the mantra, whether in the industry or in the academia. You have to constantly learn, always look at that, and look at new hybrid careers that are coming up. Last thing is, do not be scared. We started with that question, are we scared? Do not be scared of it. It's human AI collaboration or human machine collaboration is going to stay. Okay, I'll quote a very, it's a real life incident. I was sitting at the airport waiting to take my flight, and there were two techies sitting right next to me, quite young people compared to my age, and they're talking amongst themselves, and I could figure out by the conversation they're probably co-founders of a startup. These guys have tough decisions to make. They don't have a whole wealth of money, but they have to build a solution and they have to take it to market pretty soon. So these guys are discussing, we don't have UI capabilities in-house. You understand UI, like the GUI part, the graphical user interface, the front end. So how do we tackle this problem? We don't have UI capabilities, should we outsource? One of them says, let's use AI. AI will build the front end for us, we'll use it. And the other guy who's more seems matured says, AI will build the UI for us. But what about UX? You familiar with the term UX?
Yes, sir.
Usability engineering. So UI is never talked about in isolation. We always talk about the term UI/UX. UX is where the human angle comes in. Am I building a graphical user interface, a front end, which is easy for use by a human? Because ultimately, who are going to be the consumers of that service? Humans. And as long as the humans are going to be the consumers, I have to design that solution to be easy for humans to use. That's where usability engineering comes in. This guy says AI will not be able to bring in those aspects. And you know what they decide? Right at the airport, they made an important decision. They said, okay, let us then outsource it because we don't have the UX capabilities for sure in-house. Let us outsource it to an external vendor. Let him use AI for UI development. But at least before he goes to UI development, he'll do the usability engineering with a set of creative designers. And once he's done that, he proceed to UI development. So it's all about human-machine collaboration. Even if you want to discount this as some isolated incident, think of the bigger change that happened decades back when digital transformation happened in our country. Every sphere of life, computers were introduced. Bank employees were scared. My job will go away because computers will come and take my job. Everybody was scared. It was exactly the same situation as today. Have the jobs gone off? No. We have newer jobs. E-commerce has brought in new kind of jobs. We have new ways of doing banking because of computer systems. So no technology takes away jobs. They just change the way we do our jobs. Okay, so human-machine collaboration will remain. It's important. The key thing we have to continuously focus on is ethical development. I focused on that. Ethical technology development. That's the human aspect of it. You cannot tell an AI. Again, it reminds me of a topic in the GCC Leadership Conclave. It was a panel discussion. The topic of the panel discussion was, are CEOs, Chief Executive Officers, relevant in the world of AI? The unanimous answer was yes. Why? Here the chief executive officer makes all the executive decisions, the key decisions. Can you, for example, there was a question that was thrown, can you rely on an AI solution to decide the budget for itself? How much budget should I allocate for AI software development? Will you allow an AI solution to decide on that? So CEO role is relevant. Ethical development is still a human role. That's one area. Second is sustainable practices. We heard Director Ma'am talk about how ABSIT has a vast focus towards groundwater harvesting or solar energy. What are we talking about? Building a campus which is sustainable. Data centers, cloud, AI, they use a lot of power. How can we use renewable energy? How can we focus on energy efficient implementation, what we call as green computing? So how do we follow sustainable technology practices? This is an in-thing today. Almost every curriculum across institutions is trying to today focus on sustainability green computing. By the way, even our budget included this other focus. You would have seen a lot of focus coming on renewable energy, sustainable development. Why? Because and on one side, the budget promoted that data centers. And what was the promotion? There was an announcement that till 2047 we will provide a tax holiday to any global cloud service provider who provides cloud services to the globe and India, but out of data centers hosted in India. We announced that kind of a tax holiday. What was the intent? Help data centers grow even faster in India. Already we know India has become a data center powerhouse. Data centers are mushrooming in every tier 2, tier 3 city of our country. But this consumes power. So we are a power-starved nation when it comes to electricity power. How can we survive in this modern era of cloud and AI when data centers consume so much? By following sustainable technology practices. Okay, human-centered design is important. I gave an example of how these startup founders talked about human-centered design. And it's extremely important to collaborate. This is where this conference comes in. Policymakers, technologists, educators need a platform to work together. And conferences like these enable collaboration between people coming from different parts of life. Okay, so let me just conclude. I think I've taken a lot of time, but I did want to cover all technologies and the current landscape where we stand today. What should be the motto for this conference? I mean, it's very interesting. All technologies we are covering as part of an emerging technology. What should we be doing over the next 2 days? I see very interesting papers that have been there. I'm sure it will be an interesting discussion. So I'll just conclude by saying focus on 4 things. One, the importance of emerging technologies as being converging and transformative technologies. Okay? So remember, the future is not something that's going to simply happen to us. It is what we are going to actively shape it to be. Okay? So the important message is what? We have the control. Okay? Don't fear that AI is taking away control. We still have the control. Future is not going to be what it simply happens to be. It's what we decide and what we shape it to be, and it's going to be. Focus on ethical and collaborative leadership in every sphere of life. The key thing to remember is what I said earlier. With great power comes great responsibility. We may be seeing a lot of power coming out of these technologies, but it is up to us. We as scientists, as engineers, technologists, industry leaders, students, it is up to us to ensure that these technologies are harnessed responsibly, ethically, in a sustainable manner, and in a manner that drives inclusivity. It should not be for only a part of the society, but for everybody. Education is extremely important, and it is what shapes our workforce. But equally important is continuous learning, which keeps the workforce always up to date. So the important thing I want everybody to remember over the next 2 days at least, and over a lifetime if possible, is always look at collaboration. Collaboration across academia, research, industry. We have to People who carry more experience, who have a history of doing this, have also the added responsibility of creating the next generation of talent. The students are the torch bearers who are going to carry these technologies forward. So collaborate. And lastly, the future of connected technologies. It's going to, as we said, going to create new possibilities in all spheres of life, but the important thing is to remember is technology is only powerful or most powerful when it serves humanity. It is not for the other way around. It's not humanity who's going to serve technology. That's the fear we carry, but no. Technology is most powerful when it's used to serve humanity. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your patience to listen to what all I had to say in this keynote address. I'll just end by saying, together we can all build a future that is not just technologically advanced, but something which is profoundly human. That's what we should aim for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful words, how technologies are transforming our world, and how we should look beyond the horizon. The mantra of continuous learning, we are definitely going to carry it throughout our lives. Your insights were both informative and inspiring. And now, as we proceed further, it is a pleasure to invite our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Sapna Katyal. She is a seasoned technology leader with over 22 years of experience across industry, research, and higher education. She currently serves as advisor at Impledge Technologies, mentoring teams in cloud, big data, and data science. Dr. Katyal has held several senior leadership roles, including technical advisor, CEO of Technology Business Incubator, Dean, head of the department, and actively contributes to academic governance as a Board of Studies and Advisory Board member. She holds a PhD in Artificial Intelligence from Jamia Millia Islamia University with expertise in AI, machine learning, cloud computing, IoT, and image processing. A prolific author and researcher, she has written 12 engineering textbooks, published 50 plus research papers, and holds 12 patents. She is a recipient of Teachers Excellence Award as a sought after international speaker at national and global platforms. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Sapna Katyal. Please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So first, I would like to thank management, faculty members uh, for inviting me in this conference, national conference. And directly coming to the topic, I shall be speaking something on artificial intelligence in healthcare. So the only objective is I must be able to give you certain use cases so that you can think in that particular direction. If required, you can carry out certain works also. So artificial intelligence in the healthcare means I shall be talking about the advancing quality, equity, and inclusive care. So specific use cases. So let us discuss, and majority of these things I'll be talking about in Indian perspective. Uh, see, let us begin. We are looking for inclusive healthcare, and AI is actually playing that bridge, the role of the bridge. Inclusive healthcare means which must be ethical, transparent, and must be applicable for the social sectors. We are not just looking for money-making machines or something. And the government initiative is also Viksit Bharat 2047 mission and Ayushman Bharat digital mission. They are actually the backbones of the AI innovation in India. And surely, in a coming time, even currently also, a lots of things is being done in many startups, many applications. No doubt, many of them are at the POC stages, but surely in a coming time they are going to contribute a lot. And even
When we are talking about the current scenario, so many healthcare professionals and many hospitals, organizations, even corporates also, they are working in that direction and utilizing effectively. So here, in today's discussion, let's navigate the alphabets of healthcare transformation using artificial intelligence. How we can understand and we can also recall and remember the things quickly so that what are the possible use cases and the application areas of that one. So few data I've listed out over here. So this is just means how many healthcare professionals, doctors, hospitals, they are utilizing it, and what is the growth rate in India also, and how the even healthcare records is being linked, and how data security is being carried out next. If we are talking about this alphabet A, which is the automation in the healthcare. So automation in the healthcare, many organizations they are actually utilizing it. Wherever there is a like repetitive kinds of jobs, when we are talking from the hospital point of view, whenever we used to go to the hospitals, there are certain tasks which we have to do every time, repeatedly filling certain forms and taking the scheduling for doctor's appointment, even the claim processing, everything. So there are many more tasks which are actually repetitive in nature. So those particular tasks can be automated nicely. So artificial intelligence is actually helping to navigate to some simplify those tasks, and which is actually even for the reports diagnosis also. When we are talking about the reports or whenever we there's a requirement to search any patient history, so that could be taken out in that could be carried out in a very smaller time. What happens actually whenever some person who is manually involved in a particular task, so there is a lot much paper turnaround time. There are there is might be possibility that certain errors could be taken out, and accordingly. So with the inclusion, with the indication of the automation, especially in the healthcare domains, that improves the productivity, that improves clinicians' productivity, and patients' experience is also being improved. Many can say that whether artificial intelligence is going to replace doctors or AI is going to replace doctors, when the diagnosis reports can also be generated by with the this integration of AI. No, could not be replaced. Doctors cannot be replaced with the AI, but they are actually getting the support so that they could make a reach to each and everyone, so that their workload can be reduced. Whatever is being like required for the paperwork or in the other tasks, so that they can interact, they can monitor more number of patients at the same time. There are many applications which are available nowadays, which listens actually the doctor-patient conversations and directly convert those conversations into the clinical notes. Even industries are also working on that. Whatever the time is being spent in the 1 2 hours of the relation during the conversation, many things we have to discuss. And they very nicely summarize all the notes and finally give the takeaways also, or what is the carry out points on which we have to take care in the future also. So many applications are available. So surely automation in the healthcare, it is a very, very important thing via which we all are like getting help. The big data and predictive analytics. Nothing beyond the predictive analytics. We have a huge amount of data, massive amount of data. The data is being generated from the patient's history, data is generated from the reports, from lab diagnosis, pathology reports, from scanning. So many things are there. So we are getting huge amount of data, and just by analyzing millions of the data points, it could be like individuals can get the information, can get the indications, what are the pointers which should be taken into the consideration. So it is nothing like that, just there is a model and model is generating the result, and we have to blindly follow. Each and everything, whatever the result is being generated or being given, that always being validated by the professionals, senior professionals, doctors. Without validation, there is nothing. But whatever the thing is, means in that huge amount of data, in that massive data, on the basis of the patterns, those gives us the directions, in which particular directions, what could be the line of treatment, what could be the possible diagnosis, accordingly the things can be taken care. And AI healthcare market, which was projected by 2026, it's like we can see how fast we exponentially we are moving in that direction. So predictive analytics will tell us about the kinds of patterns, not us about the models, what kind of patterns are there, indicators, those pointers will be validated and accordingly things will be carried out. Clinical decision support system. AI doesn't get tired or have a bad day. No. Which is actually the limitation in the case of the humans individual. So lots of data, majority of reports can be analyzed by even a very small, teeny texture, teeny details cannot be missed by those like models. Or whenever we are talking that early stage detection of some disease must be done in advance. So all those minute details cannot be missed, which might be missed by the human eye. So stage one, stage one tumors basically that could be analyzed at a very early stage. And many startups are also working in that direction. There is one Indian startup, Niramai. We may heard. So Niramai is an Indian startup which actually helps for the screening of early breast care cancer detection at a very initial level. And that is very flexible and very low cost, especially for the rural and semi-urban areas where there are not very much specialists, where the mammography can be taken out, or the persons, individuals, they have to move or travel to the cities where they are getting the more facilities and all. So such kinds of startups and working in that particular direction, so that whatever there was a gap in between the rural, semi-urban or the urban, where in the urban we are having the facilities for the every specialist, which is lacking in the rural area. So that bridge is maintained. Now a technician who is located in a certain rural area or at a longer distance where not much good facilities are available over there, and that particular technician can take a eye scan and upload the data accordingly. Reports will be generated, and on the basis of the reports we will get the indication, or the technician or the individual patient will get the indication whether there is a requirement to emergency travel to a city for a particular surgery or a treatment, or some first aid can be taken on. So it is nothing like that artificial intelligence is giving a solution and blindly individual has to follow. Always the pointers, the indicators, the remarks is being generated. If there is any criticality, accordingly that could be handled. Evidence-based guidance. Obviously, as much as the model is to be trained, that is very important thing, because to train the model, diversified data is being required. If diversified data is not required, then in the results, whatever the result will be generated, that may be biased result. There are many applications, especially there is a study about the security agency. They use emotion detection for the recruitment for the individuals. But whatever the model they have developed in that particular model, whatever the data they received, they got 85% of the security individuals, they are male members, and remaining 15% for the female members. So obviously the kind of model which is being trained, that will be more accurate for giving the indications about the male individuals, not for the female. So diversified, diverse data, that is very required, irrespective of any segregation, bifurcation. So that is how accordingly that accuracy will be received. Now it is not the time that we are moving, we are thinking that what happened. Just by analyzing the data, just by getting the responses, we are moving from what happened to what will happen. What will happen, because we are getting the early intervention, we are getting the early indication, so that we have a buyback time so that the doctors and the patient care both can be taken in advance. Digital diagnosis and drug discovery. In earlier time, bringing a drug into the market, it's the efforts of many years and many billion-dollar like investment. But with AI simulations, how molecule behaves, their nature can be studied, their responses can be identified, and that time, which is larger time, years of time, that is could be summarized. I'm not saying that is summarized. That could be summarized within few months or sometimes in a week. So that is what the beauty of the integration of artificial intelligence in the healthcare domain. Many more data we are having, so analyzing the data from whether the pathology reports, from the retinal scan, from dermatology, everywhere means every time we are asking for data, and data is very, very required. So that data is surely going to train, helpful for the training of the individual models. So drug discovery, this is very, very important thing, and in India itself, uh, for pulmonary like fibrosis, there was a trial for a drug, and that molecule response and reactions is being carried out in 46 days only. Though still many clinical testing has to be carried out, but now you can understand just by simulating and observing the behavior, at least we are getting the indications that we are moving in a right direction. That is what the beauty of artificial intelligence integration in the healthcare. So many more features are there, and see, it doesn't mean that other than that, that could not be done. But investing such a huge amount, investing so many years, and sometimes for a even rare disease also, that could be research could be ignored because that research must be required for a longer time, longer investment. So those many things can be now handled at initial levels also, and even for any kind of pandemic also. What could be the response, whether there is a tuberculosis outbreaks or any kind of like heart attacks or any diabetic kind of retinopathy like examination, so that could be carried out at an initial level. Equity. Equity, see, in Indian healthcare, this is the important factor. Equity is the basic or core of the Indian healthcare. Somewhere we are having very good facilities, but at some portion of the we are not having that much good facilities. So we have to integrate, we have to provide the facilities to those individuals also, which is actually nowadays available in the telemedicine. Means doctors sitting at one place and the patients at the another, they are communicating, they are utilizing their expertise, they are taking the guidance, and accordingly the things will. So equity means the system must be transparent, system must be diverse, models must be diverse, then only, irrespective of the literacy level. A person can communicate with model or a chatbot in English, other cannot be. Other may be confident in the Telugu or some other language. So equity means irrespective of that, irrespective of the language, age, gender, disability, and socioeconomic status. So that is not going to hamper. We are e-Sanjeevani is a platform via which is commonly used in the telemedicine, and so many individuals are utilizing it. There is a chatbot, and persons used to interact with the chatbot, give their what the problem they are facing. Accordingly, the reports is being prepared, discussed with the doctors. Doctors are giving the diagnosis and what could be the kind of the treatment they must be taken on. So every time when there is a chatbot, that is the beauty of the eSanjeevani platform, that users, the patients can interact in their local languages also. Language is not a bar over there. So equity means whatever the systems, whatever the applications, the models is being developed, that must be capable to reduce that gap of urban and rural. And obviously that must be easily available to the individuals so that they can utilize it. availability in terms of cost, availability in terms of the utility also. If there is an available system and that is not comfortable enough, we could not be able to utilize it. Fraud detection and financial efficiency. Fraud detection in healthcare, this is a major challenge which is faced globally and in India also. So fraud detection means this particular domain is to be taken very seriously, and whatever the like policies and the system, the models is being developed, efficiency is very very important. There is a government insurance schemes also, Ayushman Bharat some scheme where there is a insurance of 5 crore something. So the objective is whosoever is like applying for that, the particular amount must reach to the needy person, must not be moved here and there. And even besides healthcare, there is these days, all the insurance companies they started using it with the inclusion of the facial detection, emotion detection, I must say. Even nowadays, the cars which we are carrying, we used to get the indicators, whether we are diverting from a lane, whether we are moving at a high speed or something. So every this data, which we are getting the indicators, all those data is being recorded. So whenever the things is being applied, the user is going to claim the for uh, I must say for the insurance, the user when putting the claim for the insurance, so such kind of data is being analyzed. Means not many insurance companies, many are at the POC stages, but they started adapting this. And many times, many students are making the project. Then, if there is a person who's driving the car and feeling sleepy, there will be an indicator. Will get a message that you are feeling sleepy. Now you have to concentrate. See all these kinds of data, information, whatever the alerts. Alerts are very very important on the back end also for the analysis. Whether it is means the things is being processed accurately, correctly, otherwise there is a damage in the car from some other means, and we would like to cover it whenever we are claiming for the insurance for some other reason. So these things could be utilized. Though there is a limitation also. What kind of limitation? Obviously the bias. Why bias? Because see, whenever we are taking the insurance policies, there is a different premiums, and we have to pay for a particular age group. There is a certain X amount. For another person, there is a certain Y amount. Y. So the limitation is in the case of the emotion detection, when a youngster is driving a car and not fulfilling or following the rules and all, there will be definitely an indicator. But that means would be different. You are moving at a higher speed or you are feeling sleepy because there is a emotion detection. But at the same time, if there is a senior citizen who is 60, 70 plus, 75 years of a person who is driving a car, their facial expressions would be different from that. So there is always a very thin line. So all those analysis, data analysis must be done accurately. So fraud detection, financial efficiency, claim processing, healthcare costs must be reduced. Obviously, when we are talking about means what kind of claims could be there if there is less misuse of that such kind of task or something. So those indicators will help us to increase the efficiency and obviously the cost of a particular thing which we are going to avail or any services that could be reduced. Genomics and precision medicine. Data analysis. Again, every time we are talking about the data analysis, predictive modeling is very, very important. AI can process, can scan individual DNA and tell the doctor which kind of medication will suit best for that person. Doesn't means we are moving away from a strategy of one size fits all medicine approach. individuals in personalized treatment plan, and in the case of the oncology, this is very, very helpful. Even the professionals are getting the data from all around the world. They can share. They are getting the data about the kinds of cases they like handled. Research is already available. So on the basis of that, they are getting the indicators, and depending upon individual DNA analysis, will get to know which kind of treatment is best. Targeted therapies in the case of the oncology. But it doesn't mean system has generated something, system has advised something, and that is going to be best for us. Best will be when the doctor will tell the patients in a very systematic, clearly manner what is the line of treatment, how to pursue that. Even the patient also when is fulfilling, is like contributing, is taking each and everything seriously. Means demonstration of the message which is being received, that is also very important then only. So personalized treatment plan, targeted therapies, and better outcomes for the complex disease. Need not to research, means let us give this A medicine to one individual and see the response. If it not works, just come after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we'll do certain modification, changes in the medication and all. Then again we'll observe something. So we are moving away from that hit and trial strategy, and it is helping in that. So oncology is the field where a lot of things is being handled. This is very interesting. Hospital operations optimization. Many of us used to face so many challenges whenever there is a visit in the hospital, especially at the time of the admission. What happened? There is always a fight, there is always a challenge of the bed allocation. Doctor came in the morning for the round and given the signal, given the indicator, the green flag to the patient that now you can take a discharge. But what will happen? Patient got to know that the person has to take the discharge, but by for preparing discharge summary, again it's a time of so many hours. Because during the stay at the hospital, so many specialists came from the different departments. So at the time of the discharge, each and every has to give the remark, and then finally there will be a list of the medicines which is to be taken out. After that, there will be a start of the claim process. So till the time late evening or sometimes many more hours is being involved, so patient is not getting the discharge. Even the doctor has said that now you can move. And at the same time, see, number of beds are limited. At the same time, there is another patient who has submitted the data, these papers for the hospital admission in the morning and waiting till late evening for getting the bed, which is getting free. So when the things is being automated and when the this staffing is being done nicely, time required to reduce, time required to prepare the discharge summary, time required to process the mediclaims, when all these times is being reduced, surely it is going to help. And I must say that though I have the personal interaction with the doctors from the Apollo and Max Hospital, and they are actually taking the help. There are apps which are helping them for preparing discharge summaries and for preparing for fast processing of the claims. So many hospitals they started using those particular applications, and even the doctors are also saying that not completely, but partially they are utilizing it just to identify which these what are the previous histories and what kind of the treatment plans could be given to them. So that is what the beauty of this artificial intelligence in healthcare for hospital operation. Flow analysis prediction is also very important. We know that all around the year, there is not a constant flow of the admissions or the patients coming to the doctors. There are certain time periods where the number of patients who are visiting the doctors are high, while certain time periods where there is a very smooth, like doctor-patient interaction. So, on the basis of the predictive analysis, on the basis of the previously data, it can be identified what are those months or a week and even in a day also. what are those hours where the more patients are visiting for the OPDs, where more patients are visiting for the emergency. Accordingly, the duty plans can be allocated to the healthcare professionals. Because otherwise, if generic system were doing, and even in the past manual systems were there for the duty allocations and all, so healthcare professionals got burned out just by doing the duties only. So, on depending accordingly, the duties can be allocated. Doctors will get to know what are the situations where which particular department is to be on toes, or where there should be maximum number of healthcare professionals. And surely, depending upon the adaptive situation, there will be the thing, there must be the adaptability. It does not mean that whatever is being told we have to. There must be certain plus minus things, and means surely we have to be ready for the adaptive situation. And when we are saying that repetitive kinds of jobs is being handled nicely, systematically, waiting time is surely going to be reduced. So Max Hospital, even Fortis has also started using artificial intelligence in models or data for the radiology workflow for scanning results at an initial level, preparing the summary that is being validated by doctor only. Doesn't mean if the summary is being prepared, if the pathology reports is being generated, that is to be diverted to the patient. No. Validation is done by the doctor, but initial things is being carried out by such things. And as per the data, the data which is available in the research and all, almost 1.5 times a doctor or a healthcare professional needs to invest on a paperwork for every 1 hour of the patient care, especially in the emergency, in the ICU. Lots of paperwork is being required. So that is reduced a lot. And even with this particular documentation, which is being handy nowadays, so monthly 44 hours, 44 hours of a doctor time is kept free, so that they can invest, they can on the patient, and surely means with the other segments also. Intelligent telemedicine. Telemedicine with artificial intelligence. Patients can be monitored virtually, real-time data can be received accordingly, indicators can be given to the doctors and all. So many more. Remote diagnosis. They need not to travel from one place to another place for every time. So e-Sanjeevani platform, that's the Indian so that is very nicely utilized by the individuals. And sure, means then telemedicine, and we have seen in the pandemic, in the COVID-19, from that. Otherwise, in earlier time also, we were very hesitant that doctor is not we are not talking to the doctor in a correct manner. How we are getting the means right treatment or something. So we were hesitant, but that has given us a definitely another vertical, another direction. Just in time care delivery, real time alerts. On a real time scenarios, the patient cares will be received. See, the Apple Watch had study by Stanford. Wearables data is also available, and huge wearable data is available. That data is also analyzed. From that, 4 lakh plus data, which is being received, which is being monitored in a real-time scenario, and many more cardiac arrest cases, heart irregularities have been observed. So we are having wearable data, we are having previous data, current data. So everywhere there is a game, there is a play of the data. So real-time scenario, we can get the right treatment, right approach, even in the emergency zone. Knowledge management. Model must be trained. Doctors, other healthcare professionals must get about the what is the latest update, what is the research available. They must be very they must be dealing with heavy load in the hospitals or all. So depending upon what kind of research, previous history is available, they can update themselves and accordingly they get to know what is to be done. Evidence-based practice, no hidden trial. Past like use cases are already available. Those are the indicators which gives us whether we are moving in a right direction or not. So AI powered medical knowledge, earlier case studies, continuous learning, integrating with the emerging technologies, that the complete knowledge system. So that helps. Language and literacy increase, irrespective of the language, irrespective of the literacy level. A person who may not be able to communicate even one complete sentence in Hindi, but that person must also get the good services. So, irrespective of the languages, literacy level, multilingual AI health assistants are available. See, we know that how this chatbot works, Gen AI works actually every time. Today itself, I was watching something in a TV, and there it was mentioned that almost 3%, 3% we are daily using the Gen AI. We are totally dependent upon the like ChatGPT. India is the second country who is heavily using ChatGPT. ChatGPT. We are the second country. Whatever we are requiring, we just write it and we are getting the news. And there is a beauty that ChatGPT don't criticize you. Always tells, yes, you are in the right direction. Very beautifully, you ask the question. So we always thought that whatever we are asking, we are moving in the right direction. That is not criticizing us, means just encouraging us, and day by day just we are improving our prompts and accordingly we are getting the good results. So when means we have to apply the critical thinking also. Whatever the data we are getting, how it should be carried out in the future. Even when you are asking, when you are putting your prompts, you must be very, very careful that you don't want some goody goody result. The authenticated things will be we will be getting when we are putting the prompts in the right manner. So what is the process? What how it has to be carried out? How the model is trained means our prompt that is actually being converted into the tokens, and tokens being carried out, search into the vector database where there is a appropriate numerical values. That numeric values will train the model and accordingly the responses being generated. And there is a continuous training. Even for one question, if I'm just asking again and again many things, I'm just modifying the question 10 times, means on the basis of that also the model is getting trained. So that is what the level is. Mental health support. Even in India also, mental health care professionals, we are having shortage. And we are suffering a lot much population, whether you are talking about the school going bachas to the technocrats or the professionals, they are suffering. So those screening must be done, counseling must be done at an initial level. Many corporates are also incorporated, obviously, just by taking the consents from their employees that during the work culture or during certain hours, their responses, their behaviors and facial expressions is being captured, which will be analyzed. So they will give the indications whether those employees, what they feel. National health programs, integration, many more health programs are there. Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, incorporating healthcare documents, and at the same time maintaining the data security. Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana for the insurance. There is another scheme, Niti Aayog Mission AI for all. The only objective is whatever the innovation is being carried out, that must be transparent, that must be ethical, and for the social sectors only. So many more programs, integration, and surely they are helping a lot. Objective of each and everything. Objective of the healthcare is only outcome, better outcome. not in the terms of the efficiency. Better outcome means transparent system, ethical system, unbiased system must be there, and there must be equity. Equity is very, very important. So that is what the objective. I would like to end my presentation with a story of perspective. Here you can see a picture. What happened? There was a group of blind people. They were asked to define elephant. One person that touches trunk and said it's a snake. Another feel the leg and said it's a tree. And the third one touches the ear and said it's a fan. Each was correct, yet each was wrong. Until unless they are not sharing their perspective, nothing can be justified. They did not got the chance to justify themselves. AI in healthcare is nothing different from that. See, doctors are screening patients. Patients are suffering from certain diseases. Policymakers are observing population. Technocrats, they are working for developing app and creating new facilities and services. But each and every one is watching, observing only one segment. They are not talking in total. So until unless the entire thing is not being combined, the whole perspective is not being achieved. So that is what the objective, the perspective of artificial intelligence in healthcare is. We are not going to make a innovative, different, high-tech technology. We have to work together to build a better healthcare. That is what the perspective is. So one cannot be like highlighted, another cannot be ignored. Each and every one has an individual role. They have to contribute towards the success, and that is what the objective is. So with this, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for such an enriching session on the role of AI in healthcare sector. You beautifully highlighted how technology can enhance patient care and support medical professionals. We are truly grateful to you. Now the participants are requested to move to yoga hall for lunch. After lunch, the students are requested to move to their respective track rooms. Thank you.